Darcy incident soured it, but there were so many things to like, and the way that he just hit the ground running was amazing.
Yeah, 70% game time to collect those stats and a profound influence. So he just became another member of this midfield that's so hard to work through, and I'd expect him to be able to back it up. He's done it for a long time.
Also, it'd be a real headache for the coaching box because they've got so many A-grade players. So do you go to Bontempelli? Do you go to Richards? Do you go to Liberatore? Or do you just back your own midfield in to go head-to-head? We see there Tom Green. So he's going to carry a real heavy load in that midfield. I think Callaghan needs to step up in terms of the contested stuff, but certainly Green will be has a huge part to play this game.
Well, last week he had a high double-figure contested possessions, almost 20. The next highest giant was only 6. So the fact that there was such a differential between their highest contested possession getting winner and their next is something that the Giants need to watch. If they can balance the contest, then I think they'll stand up really well in transition. They've got such hard runners in Callaghan and Jones and Kelly. Whitfield off the back, Ash, who's had a fantastic season. But they definitely need to, on a slippery night, they definitely need to get their hands dirty inside first.
I think from a Giants perspective, you can't underestimate how important the start is. I mean, this Bulldogs side, if they're allowed to get up and going from a really early part of this game, they're going to be really hard to contain.
And in the middle we go, 2 number 4s, a couple of handy captains. I think way back to Marcus Bontempelli in that 2016 preliminary final.
Down to the ball, and the heads. No worries, thanks guys. Thanks.
Occasion Toby Green prevails, winning the toss. Kick to the left of screen.
They travel everywhere, the Giants. They play all around the country with the Dogs. 7 times they've been here to take on 1-5, so no concerns here for the Dogs playing in Canberra.
Well, we spoke about Marcus Bontempelli's form coming back in, and obviously the Dogs' form against the Giants, 7 of the last 8, 5 of 7 here. Toby Green's had an excellent record against the Western Bulldogs. He's averaged over 4 goals a game, so that's something to watch in his individual performance.
Well, let's head down to Cameron Mooney, who is a beautiful night for boundary riders tonight, Burns.
Well, at the moment it is, Hutto, it is, you're right. It's a beautiful day, been a beautiful night so far. We are expecting a little bit of rain coming in the next hour or so. So a good start is very important, as we know, and for the Bulldogs. One man's got to be Aaron Norton right there playing his 150th game. What a star he's been, but he's obviously has a huge important role tonight with young Darcy out and a couple of younger players around him tonight. But he's really going to have to step up, coming up against arguably the best fullback in the competition in Taylor as well. So looking forward to that matchup, guys. But as we said, right now, beautiful conditions, but with some rain on the way.
Thank you, Moose. Luke Akamas has gone to full forward, so that's the first move from Luke Beveridge.
He did look lively last week when Darcy went off with that injury. He looked like he had more space. He wanted to be the man down there. He gets Taylor, so that is going to be a difficult task for him tonight on one of the best key defenders in the game.
Talking about being a buslinger, and the Dogs have 7 players who played 20 AFL games or less. So they're a very young side, and the coach is putting a lot of faith in his youth.
Good luck to young Jan. He's going to line up on Jake Stringer. What a way to start. Speaking of starting, this is where it all belongs and begins tonight for Briggs and English out of the middle. Poke forward by Green. Here's Riley West. Excellent form for him in the last couple of weeks. And it is Toby that gets the first meaningful kick. Out wide. Hogan leading O'Donnell.
Yeah, that's the other match up there. So Hogan to O'Donnell. So that will be a watch tonight, just to see how they try and manufacture those match up in the defensive end and certainly the forward end for the Giants. I reckon Jesse will try and get young Buslinger at times.
15 goals straight in his 3 games that he's played so far this year, Jesse Hogan, including a bag of 9, of course, against West Coast. Stringer, who's taken a while to get going from a goal sense, but remains a threat as a premiership Bulldog, of course. Off to Liberatore from Richards, and they progress. Sam Taylor who have taken that mark. He's the leading intercept marker in the competition. And what a backup he's got. Buckley and Iden, of course, in a milestone game, and Whitfield, leading possession winner in the competition through Stone. And they're all lining up. Ash is in good form as well.
Dew came in 45 minutes ago, quite slippery on the surface. Giants go forward. Here is Hogan, gets hands to it. Looks to dish off by hand, made no contact. He'll be penalised. The Dogs will take the advantage. Put it out in the path of Fraser, just missed him.
Yeah, so he drops an easy one, but O'Donnell got caught out. So you are on the reigning Coleman medalist, you know, in Jesse Hogan, we just see there. Lucky you're not paid holding the ball there. So Toby Bedford goes to Bontempelli, so that looks like a run with in the middle of the ground. Just need a close check, Jesse Hogan.
English dances a little dance, but Brixton recognised how short it was going to be. Hometown hero Tom Green.
In regards to the Hogan matchup, O'Donnell looks like he's the one that wants to stay deepest so that Rory Lobb can stay up a line. So I think the Giants forwards will try and play with that a little bit, but if Hogan's high, expect Lobb to take him. If he's deep, then O'Donnell will have the job.
Bucks and breaks going on down there that they performed to get Jesse the right matchup. Free kick goes to Bontempelli. Off to Liberatore. What a star he was last week and is. Down towards Norton. Displaced. Carmus decided to stay down. Basically hurls it out. Norton's way now west. Paddling it back for Kennedy. Kicked 2 fantastic goals last week. There's been a great acquisition in the front 50. Bontempelli with a forward handle. Speaking of kicks for goal from Kennedy, he's nailed the first of the night. There's another ex-Giant.
And continues his brilliant goal-kicking form. He kicked one around the corner on his left from about 45 last week, which was exceptional. And he doesn't need much of an invitation at the moment. At this point here, the Giants looked like that outnumbered the Dogs really well. But that handball out of the congestion by Bontempelli, and what a pure finish there by Matt Kennedy. He's having a great season.
So this is a game, and especially against the Western Bulldogs, you have to trust the tackler. You cannot get sucked into congestion. We saw that with the Giants there. Toby Bedford got sucked into congestion. The Dogs hold their space really well. It's why Bontempelli was able to get that disposal.
A great start to his career at the Dogs. 19 games at the Giants, 99 at the Blues for Kennedy. The subs, if you're just joining, are Hines and Ward. Vitore puts out to Bailey. All the way here. Bailey Dale now. Richards, Sanders, hits 50, sends it deep, just across the face.
Yeah, and so that's the concern. So once again, the Dogs are able to chain out from a stoppage and really get that space forward of the stoppage.
Ash. Takes that wide to Whitfield. They go in the flanks. This occasion up to the wing. Enough of a purchase it was.
Looks like they want to get speed on the ball too, Hutto, the Giants.
They weren't able to last week. They were jammed up by the Adelaide Crows, who defended them so well. Denied them the corridor. So we're watching that early to see whether they can get the path that they crave. Buckley now, so he's forced wide as well to Stone.
So this type of play is the challenge. When you're hemmed in on the boundary line, the Dogs have really sucked you into going wide. Can you still generate some speed on the ball? You see Lockie Ash there looking into the middle.
Career high numbers for him this year, but hesitating on when exactly to release it. He knew where to go. It was to Hogan. Toby Green subdued that time by the good Bulldogs defence. Nice turn from Sanders. It was an excellent tackle. And then they doubled down with Thomas. There was no whistle. Gee, I don't know about that. Got it out.
The umpire pulled the whistle in mouth.
Yeah, very Toby Green. And he does call it. That's not fair enough. The umpires at this early stage to the look. He's stiff.
Liberatore switches to the outer side. First opportunity for Jed Buslinger on the side. And it starts nicely.
He had a lot of the ball in his game last week in the VFL, 32 touches, so playing behind the ball, he's not just a defender, he's got the chance to accumulate as well.
13 back in 2022. Just calm back there. Just needs to get around West here. Who applied some good pressure. Looks down the line for Stringer. Nearly not quite for the Premiership Dog against his old side. In the pocket towards Norton, game number 150, and again, it's the calm and measured Buckley.
Off to Kelly, and Iden can come away with a bounce. This ground has hosted, as McMillan takes a couple of terrific marks over the years. Think back to Winnie Abraham all those years ago.
Still got his sprint.
Oscar Elliott took a great grab for the Giants here also. Bedford down the line to Darcy Jones. There is some size to kick too deep. At the back is Riccardi. At the front was Hogan. Waiting for it to feed off to Riccardi was Himmelberg. So a goal each, and Riccardi very grateful for a little handoff from Himmelberg. It's going to be an interesting contest as it goes to either end.
Well, you see there, Jake Stringer gets out, had a really good piece of the mark. But it's clear already in the early part of the game, both teams want to take it to the open side and really use the width of the ground. So you speak about when you're tagging Bontempelli, how can you hurt him the other way? Involved in that play was Toby Bedford. So try and lock away the number one play for the opposition, but when the time is right, and certainly when your side is able to switch the ball, there is a lot of space to run into. Make Bontempelli work the other way.
26 goals last year for Riccardi, he's third.
Giants forwards are trying to lengthen the Dogs' defenders away.
So space, isn't there?
With these slippery conditions, if you get anything over the back, the Giants are going to be favoured.
Kelly standing alongside Bontempelli.
You can see Riccardi's come off for a rest after that goal. You see how Cadman's that one, Louis, and Bucks trying to play that lob roll, just basically trying to get him out of the way of Hogan.
So it looks like a tag, Moods.
Yeah, I reckon they'll be swapping onto him a little bit all night, just to try and push him away from Hogan as much as they can.
Bounces a couple of times, Green starting in the middle. Squeezes it out by hand. And they go down towards the tall forwards. Here is Cadman, the aforementioned, just falls into the lap of Cleary. By hand, Johannesson nearly run down behind by Jones. Baldry one in the middle of the ground. Bailey Williams onto Sanders. Of age one goes back by hand.
Finds Dale. Turns at centre half back and quickly identifies Fraser. Another one of the emerging young Bulldogs. Kicks it on the 45 in the liberatory direction, but quite close enough to him, wasn't it? Is Connor Stone. In the ball cleanly. Back to Iden against the line with liberatory bearing down. And Halloran lends the hand. Stone again, wasn't quite sure whether to kick down the line or not. Tom Green doesn't hesitate. Bedford had to defend, knock it away. Well, Stone a big swing and a miss. Iden again forced to clean up, and he did it well. With great conviction off to Halloran and then to Green. There's always an extra cheer for him. They're tall up forward at the moment, the Giants. Cadman, rangy, right up the ground and beat it, and takes them up.
Well, plenty of Bulldogs players behind the ball, so that's why Cadman had to slow the ball movement down.
Hogan's held behind English, front position Green, trying to tap into the path of Kelly. Fraser came the other way.
Really clean take by Fraser and a great tackle by Josh Kelly. All of those basics are going to be important. Clean takes, clean gives, hit your targets and take your chances.
Smashed away into the middle. Sanders started nicely. Tried to flick it out by hand. Kennedy round the corner. Norton, game 150. Attacks it hard. Taylor had him covered. Now Ash back in support over the top of Dolan. And pass just into the target in Ash.
They get back to help and recover really well, the Giants. You speak of Ware, Ash, Midfield.
Their bottom four are giving insides against. Yeah, only West Coast, Richmond and North are worse than the Giants, but they're number one at preventing scores and number one at preventing goals. So their back six are doing a lot right.
I'll tell you what, every player that's coming off at the moment is spent in a pretty fast-paced game already.
Carter's backing up to the ruck. Get the tap, but it does go straight to Fraser into the Bulldogs' way. Norton held at bay. Vandermeer, one of the returning trio for the Bulldogs tonight. Didn't get the access he was after. And instead, one hard. Thomas's kick is well placed out for Darcy Jones. Has a couple of metres and gets away from Cleary. And guarding kick is a good one. Cadman working both sides of the ground. Quick turn, it's one-on-one. It's over O'Donnell and Hogan. He's there to take it over and out.
Just Darcy Jones in open space. I'm looking forward to seeing him and his work rate. It's as high as any other.
Interesting, Karmas is playing that second ruck roll, Bucks. Big work on here with Riccardi.
Yeah, great athleticism.
Riccardi
Big ask.
got the tapped out a Stringer. Surrounded by Bulldogs. Dale was one of them. Thomas Coalface as well. Is no getting out of there. And it looks like we'll have a ball up. Cal Ward is the sub tonight for the Giants. Of course, another former Bulldog. And young Cooper Hines is the sub again. He was just doing a bit of warming up a few moments ago.
Riccardi, Karmas. Snapped out of the pack by Richards. Hogan provides some body. Thomas. Now hands. O'Halloran. Good tackle. Karmas kept it in there. Harms dumped with a tackle. O'Halloran again. Toby Green overruns it. Comes out with an important tap. Frazier to Vandermeer, just keeps the ball in.
It is good pressure. Really good pressure by the Giants, just closing down space for the Dogs. Dogs only taken 3 marks, 4 marks for the game, so they haven't been able to find that exit kick to really slow things down and get the game looking like the way they want to.
Well, the irony is that the Dogs look like they're involved more in run and carry and the Giants in kick mark, which I thought would have been flipped the other way, but the Giants have already had 18 uncontested marks.
Clear knock into the space, but the Bulldogs had Bramble in reserve. It's a high kick up towards, well, not really to the wing Idens there, just doing the safety first option. Smashes it back over the line and out of bounds.
Both teams are up and about though. It's a high pressure game. You need to make sure you're clean to be able to get your possessions, and it's a high quality contest already.
See Bontempelli at the edge of the stoppage coming up as a forward, so Bedford, a little bit of confusion around, does he go to Bontempelli or does he go to Richards?
Hustling a left on Hogan in the goal square, but the footy isn't going that way, or at least not yet. Harms another one back in the 10th line, beaten by Kelly, and it is the Giants going forward. Jones found a way against Cleary, and he's a slippery customer. Lovely left foot snap at goal, but hustling it as well.
Good positioning and great to have that courage just to go to the ball when he needed to.
Oh, he's not turning it over on the exit. He has. Falls to Callahan. Unusually poor effort by him.
He had more time too.
Howie, teammate to pass to as well.
So let off Buslinger and the Dogs. Bailey Williams.
He'd be nervous, young kid.
That wouldn't help his nerves.
No.
But the mark would.
Right in front of the Jack Fingleton scoreboard. Now towards centre wing. Norton's in good position. Tapped it down, looking for Vandermeer, streaking through.
But the kicking efficiencies are a big differential in contrast at the moment. Giants are going 79% for their kicks. The Dogs at just 43, so they've just missed too many targets and allowing the Giants to be able to turn the ball over and come back the other way.
A bit to take in this one in the early stages, but it's a goal each. Just a 1 point lead, and both sides have been into their 50 rough at the same amount. McCarty able to feed it out. Long kick towards full forward. Looks like it made the spoil. Cadman wasn't sure whether to hand it off or take the shot. He took a very high shot. Had O'Donnell favoured a low. Jones, they didn't kill it. Well, they did smash the second one down. Didn't matter in the end. Thomas with a whip it on the left boot, puts it through. They are so dangerous on the floor up there, aren't they?
So busy as well. So, yeah, Darcy Jones, we've seen Harvey Thomas, and that adds to the mix. You know, we were talking about how tall they are, but they get enough ground level pressure and run from those two players, and they're able to create some. This ball just slipped off the end of the fist and didn't go through. It would have been, that's probably just another skill area. You've got to get those right to prevent scores against.
Just outworking them at the moment. That's what it looks like live. Just contest to contest. The Giants players outworking the Dogs at the moment. If Cadman had his time again, he probably would have kicked the snap straight away. Would have been unselfish, look for a better option. But they're covering the ground really well at the moment, the Giants.
Pressure up at 202, the Giants. So Kennedy and Riccardi and Thomas answer for the Giants' margin. Towards McMullen. Big slider inside 50, too much ice for everybody. I think it was for the short, but in the end it goes a touch over. Really good hands of Stringer.
Really good forward play by Jake Stringer. Whenever you get a chance as a forward, you want to follow a teammate who's leading hard up at the ball, because if the ball goes over the top of that, then it could fall in your arms. So that's just experience from Jake Stringer to be able to fall into that position and be the recipient of that kick that was errant to Cadman.
Three-time leading goal kicker at the Bulldogs. Stringer, unusual. Started way left and was coming back, but not enough.
He is having a tough time in front of the sticks this year. 3 goals, 11.
Yeah.
Tail back to English, and that was predictable, but Excellent play to get it to the wing. Now it runs straight into Riccardi, and there's hands up on the inside. There's a free kick though.
Kennedy got hard off the ball there. Right?
Okay. He moves well, and Conley has returned it straight back to Riccardi after.
Well, this is the thing. So they've obviously done their homework, the Giants. They understand that the Dogs want to go short and be really precise with their ball movement. They're reluctant to go long. Maybe that's the Sam Darcy effect. So just really switched on defensively.
Pretty sure Adam Kingston would have had them switched on after how disappointing they were last week as well. All right, against the Crows. Nolan keeps it super short to Whitfield. Prepared to trust his judgment to not rush the kick, and he's done it well. And good progression to Callahan.
Well, there will be room to move the ball up if they want to switch the ball. Tim English is just sitting in the hole.
Now to Kelly. Quiet in the second half last week, just 5 disposals. He wasn't alone to full forward. O'Donnell's got work to do against Hogan. He does the work, but in doing so, he has infringed.
So it's been a really good contest. O'Donnell and Hogan held his own really well, O'Donnell, but just gave away the free kick on that occasion.
We're talking about coming in, and the Giants are +8 in contested possession, and they are working harder through the midfield. The Dogs have helped them. They've fueled it with some of their clanging kicks and handballs, but the Giants are definitely up for the challenge.
15 goals straight. He has had 3 misses, but we don't want to spoil it with that. Can he keep it going? He's actually kicked 18 consecutive goals in a row. We'll just pretend we never saw that. Out of bounds on the foot.
It's like he bellied the ball.
Just shows 2 last up against the Dogs.
It just shows how that extra kick to get the kick a little bit deeper over Tim English's head, how important that kick becomes.
Bob's happy to drop it short to Luke Cleary, game number 11. He looks for the corridor. English, true centre-half back. Good ball movement for the Dogs, lands with Liberatore. Good progression to the outer side. Davies. Really tighten the ball moving forward. Oh, and Ash just stands in front, takes the one-hander. This is off to Callahan, comes back to the near side, sets a task.
Oh, Darcy worked great.
There's Thomas. Well-weighted ball to Jones. Scrubs it forward, makes it difficult for Riccardi. Good tackle though. Fraser's a big-bodied mid and finds Bustlinger, who started his first AFL game nicely.
Dancing on the spot with Jones closing, released at the right moment. Great to see Johannesson back. He's got his 200th game coming up next week. Ran forward, kicked a goal last week. This kind of style with 25 disposals. Away from Booker Carnes. His follow-up was excellent towards the line. Took out a couple in his path. I'm not overplay it, but Palms is completely caught in the crush. Green was relishing the chance, looking for a free kick in front of his home crowd over Johannesson, but again, it's not to be.
Bulldogs are the best transition team from their D50 to their inside 50 in the competition so far. They're going really short in these conditions. It looks like it's coming apart a little.
Nathan Buckley, Jordan Lewis, Cameron Mooney. Super Saturday.
Feel a little nervous every time they kick at the moment, I think, coming out. That's because a couple have got really close, haven't they?
Well, Nate Kennedy's had 2 kick clangers. Fraser's had 1. So it's, I mean, they're tough conditions. Even Darcy Jones there came off the side of his boot.
I think you get a good indication on the first game. Bustlinger wants to go short, so that is a clear indication on how they want to play.
English, Briggs. Ingleberg ripped off the footy. Bedford, slick hands out to Ash. Piercing ball to O'Halloran. Got a couple of steps on Cleary. Donald started pretty well on Hogan. McCarty's been lively early.
Riccardi and Cadman, sorry Bucks, Riccardi and Cadman are really starting to hit those logos, really pulling the Bulldogs defence out of that inside 50 area.
Yeah, moves from up here, their patterning in the front half is excellent. Their forwards are 30, 40 metres apart from one another, break the space. They look like they're getting 5 or 6 metres on their direct opponent every time.
Whitfield's 7th disposal.
The Dogs have got to squeeze up as well. Too many spares behind the ball. Tim English is the only one that you need spare.
Tom Green right in front of the Tom Green fan club, the local boy. Well, makes good. moves.
I think the other thing that Beveridge would be wanting from his players is to cover that switch. The Giants have been able to get that exit kick on the open side of the ground really easily so far. So just tightening that distance and forcing the Giants to come back skinny in towards congestion.
Right down the insides of Jordan Lawless and Nathan Buckley. Two fine midfielders. And speaking of fine midfielders, that we're going to enjoy watching over the next decade, Finn Callahan just misses. He hasn't quite been able to bring his stylish skills to his goal kicking. And he misses that one away to the left. 9-18 for his career. Dogs.
Really using that short game, Geordie.
Yeah, you can even see Tim English leading up to the ball, so not going long down the line. So once again, it's just an indication on how they want to play in this game.
And why do they want to play that against the Giants?
Well, I think because they're so strong in defence. You've got Sam Taylor down there, and all these play Buckley that want to zone off.
Well, they look like they're collapsing a little bit too, the Giants, and that might be a pointer to the inside 50s against. But
Bontempelli picks up tight in the pockets. Even the great one can't manage to send it home from there.
at the same time, the Giants have only had 8 inside 50s against to this point, so this is one of their better quarters in terms of owning field position and territory.
Ash took off because Midfield had further afield. It's a great push rather than mark against Dolan.
Ash has continued on in the middle of the ground.
That's where he wants to kick it. There was risk. Unfortunately, though, he's going to drop the mark. Tries over to Patzer. Himmelberg is playing, I think, on the wing tonight. Plays it up to half forward. Jones keeps it low. It was a clear path to Riccardi into the pocket as Whitfield's going to come off.
Yeah,
He looked in real strife. Sorry, he looked in real strife after he kicked that ball, guys. He went straight for his foot down to his ankle there in that region, and he looks in a bit of pain down here.
So Riccardi kicked one from the goal square earlier on. This can give you a bit of confidence to get things started. Then you can start to structure stuff. And Jake Riccardi's put through his second. And the Giants have sounded a bit of an early warning. Unfortunately for them, though, this is Lockie Whitfield, who is one of the absolute stars.
That was bizarre. Yeah, no, that wasn't.
I was going to say, I thought he might have hit the ground, but nowhere near it, is it?
Great leading pattern there for Riccardi, just to create that space and then to hit the lead up.
Also, the work rate from Ash, Lockie Ash. I mean, he was a player that kicked into Whitfield, just continued to track in the middle of the ground, was able to get involved again from that Whitfield missed kick.
Well, he's having a career best season, Ash. He's already had 9 touches and he's run across that defensive mid-region straight. Lockie Whitfield's knocked up getting kicks. It's not as if he's not conditioned for it.
Going 100%, Lockie Ash too.
How's he looking down there, Moons?
The weather?
No, Lockie Whitfield.
Well, I can't see him at the moment, but no, he's still in the hands of the trainers. He's about to take his boot off and get strapped.
Right, Davidson from a similar area. The Bontempelli had to go. Norton flies out. And the weather, how's that look like down there?
The weather is sensational. That's what I was hoping we were going to be bringing up. Because right now it's beautiful with a little bit of rain on the way, so I'm excited that hasn't got here yet.
You were telling us how much you enjoyed moving here as a 16-year-old earlier on, Cam.
Yes, I had my nice 12 months here in Canberra in 1996. Never forget it.
Meantime, Ash brings it back in play. Oh, Bedford, it is a bit slippery already. The new has come in. Richards to full forward. The goal was open. Filled by Bontempelli. Harms. He put the step on Iden. It needed the finish. And boy, did he provide it. And they needed it.
Iden's defence on Bontempelli was brilliant. This came in to his advantage. And right here, like Bontempelli knows where the drop is, and Iden was able to get a fist to it, which was excellent. But Harms's crumb was great, and then to be able to put the step on went skinny. Iden did exactly what he needed to do to force him skinny. But Harms up to the challenge and was able to find the gap.
Here's a big miss by Bedford.
Yeah.
Once again, it was a great kick into the middle of the ground to start their transition, just the drop mark. We've already spoken about the slippery conditions out there. And he was made to pay.
So First through Kennedy, then 3 in a row for the Giants. As you have a look at Midfield getting that ankle strapped, and then that last goal from Harms. Briggs applies a heavy tackle on Liberatore. Dogs managed to move it inside 50. Bontempelli deep. Buckley. Vandermeer. Now a high ball. Tough one for the forwards. Norton will come from behind in game 150. Punched away from him. Liberatore distributing nicely to Sanders. Gives up ground. Back to English. Pops one up inside 50. Norton's the target. It's good hands to it. Tries to gather it again from ground level. The Giants, though, effective in defence. Here's a ball to be won, though. Richards gets his head over the footy. Looping hand pass out to Briggs, and they'll chain it out of defence.
Stone, a little give. Kelly.
Good pick up.
Applause by Hogan for such a big man. It's one of his great attributes. Below the knees. Back to Tom Green. Prepared to kick to a one-on-one. And there goes the contact. And reached the free.
He just didn't need to do it. He had body contact on O'Halloran.
You mentioned Himmelberg a little bit earlier, Hutto.
Yep.
He's spending that much time in the forward line. Don't be surprised if he gets on the end of one of these soon.
Yeah, he was involved in that first goal. Comes Toby Green's way. Doesn't quite make it through to Stringer. Long. Whistle. So there's going to be a Bulldogs ball.
Ed Richards. Downfield. Right, come back on.
To Ed Richards, and we're always a bit confused when it's a handball downfield. We've worked it out now. Richards in stellar form. Return to Bontempelli means that he's probably going to be released from the tagging he's copped. He's prepared to have a couple of bounces because he can run and then gun, get it deep for West. 3 goals last week. Can't get the end of it there. Ware fires out the handball quickly and starts a chain of 3 so far. Ash uses his pace to get away from Davidson. Rolls one along the wing. Little a bit to go right for O'Halloran. Instead it's going to slide over the boundary line. And out of bounds. What a contest we've got here. 2-20 the Giants. They put 3 goals in a row, and then the Dogs heading back to get within 5 points.
He's been open. It's felt like a really open game, so certainly quarter time in a minute 27. Players will be looking forward to that just to get a breather.
Looks okay down there, Lockie. We could go to Moons, but we might just get a weather report.
Davison. Shocker blonde hair. Down towards Bontempelli. Taylor back with the flight. Norton gets through one tackle, does a full 360, gone.
He's just waiting for an option, Norton. Bontempelli was there, but he just couldn't get the ball to him. So Bontempelli playing deep at the moment, so resting forward. Norton playing a little bit higher.
Might be a response to the tag and the fact that, you know, Darcy's not there for a little bit more aerial contest.
It seems like Norton's getting pushed under the ball a lot by Taylor. That second focal point.
Not the only bloke.
You just wish, and maybe Moons is best to comment on this, you just wish he'd have a spin move in his arm just to try and get behind Taylor, or even working back to the goal square to try and force Taylor under the ball.
36 marks to 17 in favour of the Giants so far.
Briggs tries to get front position on English. Green, clean. Kelly always so. Wobbles the ball forward. Stringer. O'Donnell tries to come the other way. Stringer stands up brilliantly in the tackle. Stringer for a magnificent goal. There were options available, but he went for home.
He was one track on that, and you could tell when he was sniffing the ball, the bounce of the ball about 65 out. He was thinking, I win this, I beat this tackle, I'm going to kick a goal.
How did he not see Cadman?
No, there was a couple of options.
They're the ones that you just can't miss.
Move it on.
It's not exactly goal kicking form, as we said. That makes 3-12 for the year now, compared to Jesse's 15 straight. For the contrast, Norton rode the pack just for fun. He caused the contest, but it's all Giants underneath the fumble of the greasy ball from Himmelberg. Williams can't capitalise. Stone had Briggs in hand, but there's nothing now because the clock was counting down and has expired. Quarter time in Canberra. Bit happening. Some concerns for Lockie Whitfield. Bulldog and Bailey. Williams going down on the siren. Some conversations taking place about decisions made or not made in the lead up to quarter time. 3-3-21 the Giants. Home game against the Bulldogs, who are 2-3-15. It's a 6-point margin between modern rivals, the Giants and the Dogs.
G'day, folks. Welcome in. M King, how you going? Giants will bounce back after last week. They could do, but I tell you what, the Dogs are in good form too. Shout out to everyone. Michelle's in here. Sheila May, Team A, Triple B, Kevin, Emmanuel. How you going? They could do. It feels like it's a very hard fought contest. Of course, the Dogs got the first, and then the Giants bounced back with the next three. The Dogs finishing off to bring it back just within one goal there. As I said, this is a fantastic rivalry beginning, or has been going for a little bit of time now. But I tell you what, there's no love lost between these two sides, the Giants and the Dogs. She's pretty good. Let's just have a look at the ins and outs, because I never got to do that. I tell you what, the Giants, they got a massive in. Have a look. Jesse Hogan comes in. The big man down forward, Jesse Hogan, their leading target. He comes in. Callum M. Brown, he's going out. Callum Ward is the sub. You wouldn't think Callum Ward would be the sub, but he is. Milestone game for the Giants. Connor, I done 100 games today. Well done, young fella. And, of course, for the Bulldogs, Inns, Buslinger, Vandermeer, Harms coming in, going out, Liam Jones, Lachlan McNeil, Sam Darcy. Of course, the new player is Jed Buslinger. There we go. Cooper Hines, the sub. They got a couple of milestone games. Of course, Jed Buslinger is his debut game, and Aaron Norton is 150th. They'll definitely want him to shape up and perform for the Doggies down their forward line this evening. Let's have a quick look at the goal scorers so far. Of course, Jake Riccardi, the only multiple goal scorer there, and it's for the Giants. He's got two with Harvey Thomas, a single. And, of course, for the Doggies, Matthew Kennedy, James Harms are the single goal scorers. Disposal getters out on the ground. At the moment, we have Lockie Ash top on the table, the only one in double figures at the moment. He's got 11, 7 kicks, 4 handballs. Connor Stone next best on 9. Of course, Tom Liberatore. I tell you what, he will, with the out of Darcy and the Bonds being out there, he's a good chance of going best and fairest so far. For the Doggies, he's having a scintillating season 2025. Tommy Liberatore tops the table there for the Dogs on 9. He's had a clearance, 4 kicks, 5 handballs. A mark and a tackle doing all right. Tom Green there up to 8. Lockie Whitfield getting his ankle strapped. All should be well with him. He's on 8 for the Giants. Let's just roll down a little bit. Jason Johannesson on 6 there for the Doggies. I haven't seen, I was just trying to search for the Bont. There's the Bont there. I was coming down to him. Before we do that, Tim English, the big man for the Dogs, 5 touches, 5 hitouts only. The Bont, Marcus Bontempelli, 5 touches, 2 kicks, 3 handballs, 2 tackles, a clearance, and a behind. Toby Green, the other one there for the Giants, just the 4 touches, 3 kicks, a handball, and a clearance. A little bit of a slow start. Of course, Sam Darcy is out of this Bulldog side. He's going to make a big difference with him going out. That is for sure one of their star players there. Let me just roll that back up quickly. Hope you don't get too dizzy. Let us get back on the scoreboard. All right, that's enough for me. Let's get back to the game where the real action is. They'll take us into the bounce of the ball. We're a minute out from the second quarter.
6th time this season, the Giants have led at quarter time, number 1 in the AFL. Down on the boundaries, Camp Mooney.
Well, I know you're asking about the weather a little bit earlier. I think you were. I'm just checking it out down here. It is very dewy. We have spoken about it a few times, haven't we? It is really starting to come in a hell of a lot dewier than it was at the start of the game. So just be aware of that during the game. But from a greater Western Giants point of view, the way that they are defending the turnover from their defensive 50 and not allowing the Bulldogs to take it down, or their forward 50, not allowing the Bulldogs to take it down into their forward 50 has been absolutely sensational. That's what they've been brilliant at. And this is what Adam Kingsley would be telling his players right now. The fact that when they're getting it inside their own forward 50 and they're not kicking goals or winning it, the fact they're not allowing the Bulldogs to run the ball down the other end and get it inside their forward line 50. Their intercept possessions have been absolutely brilliant as well. So that's right now, I reckon that's what he's talking about. Defensively, boys, you've been outstanding.
Yeah, so really shutting down those short kicks from the Dogs and then causing some shallow turnovers to then be able to go back and try and score their own way. So the change will will come, I think, this quarter. A bit longer kicks, take a little bit more ground and disallow the Giants to use that transition space in the morning. 10 times the Giants have gone from D50, had a chance to go from D50, 5 times inside their own 40-50 for 2 goals. So their transition game, a part of their game that wasn't on last week, has been important. Just look out, so Lob has gone forward. So that's the first moves that the coaches box have made. So Lob, Karmas and Norton forward of the ball.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
Yeah,
quarter.
That may be just an aggressive acknowledgement of the slipperiness of the conditions and the fact that the aerial danger is not as obvious on that end of the field.
But what a young last line of defence it leaves now with Cleary, O'Donnell and Bustlinger.
And Norton's playing really high. So trying to take Taylor out of that drop zone.
So Kingsley versus Beveridge. Giants versus Bulldogs, second quarter. Ricks gets it forward to Jones, up to Meter, and straight away there was hands up to his right, demanding a green and Himmelberg, but he goes longer and straighter to Hogan to test that inexperienced defence. Stringer flicks it out to Jesse Hogan. It's a high ball. We all wait. There's 2 dogs. Hard one of the night sky, but eyes only for Matt Kennedy.
Yeah, so it's a huge task for Bustlinger on the reigning Coleman medalist. I think also with Lob and Jones being out, you lose a lot of leadership.
Nice exit, Kennedy, Bontempelli. Karmas wants it on the wing. Diving effort, gets away from Whitfield. Good to see him back out there. Now Karmas, who started the game at full forward. Down towards Taylor. Gets a good fist on it.
Free kick, yeah.
It might simply be as much as trying to move Sam Taylor out of the D50, but it's an aggressive move. There's been a lot of aggressive moves that Bevo's made over the last 18 months that have been criticised roundly, but the Dogs are largely in better shape because of them.
So good with those one-on-ones. Taylor. Going to work hard. Is Jones outnumbered on the outer wing. Get some support from Stringer.
I think it's a big move so early in the game.
Yeah, but he must have come in with that as a pretty quick plan B option.
They look really young in defence.
Well, 41 games only between just those 3.
That does worry me a little bit.
We'll have a little bit more evidence at half time, and so will Bevo.
Dale and Johannesson, of course, who bring the experience back there. English flipped the handball, but straight up and down from McMullen. Tried marking that. Harms did. Richards wrenched it free to Kennedy again. High wide ball for Norton and Buckley. Norton did kick 5 goals on Sam Taylor back in 2022, which not many people have done, but since then he's mainly had Buckley as his opponent when these terms have met. Luke Beveridge is relatively rugged up by his standards for Campbell, expecting a cool night. English and Briggs. English knocks it down into a path for a midfield to run onto, but it's away.
You can see how the Western Bulldogs do that really well. Usually Bontempelli. That time it was Kennedy just getting through the stoppage, creating a little bit of chaos.
Kennedy 9 disposals so far. The Pretoria the same. The Bont has 6. After 13 last week on return. Marked by McMullen at this stoppage. There he is, getting the rapid-fire handball out to Harms. A left foot kick to the top of the square. He's going to avoid Lob initially. Buckley, Lob back at it again. To his feet. That's why he's moved in forward. He just misses the snap.
It's a good recovery for a big man, isn't it? He had a really good spoil in the first quarter, really good closing speed, Rory Long, but just didn't lose his feet on that occasion. Nice and clean, gave himself a chance.
He did go forward for about a quarter last week and looked a little bit out of sorts. Bevo's gone back there tonight.
Midfield is Stone. Ash.
Remember the conversation halfway through last year, before he'd gone back, he was going out.
Yes.
So he became an All-Australian quality interceptor.
Turnaround. Bedford. Staying down. Jones now takes a bounce. Nathan Buckley loves his run. Sends a long ball deep forward. Green's in good position. The big-bodied Fraser, though, comes in. There's a whistle, though. It's against the Dogs. It's going away at the skipper.
Front contact again.
He's got Dale in a really Oh, it's all Darcy Jones, the ability to take ground further up the field, puts the Dogs who usually take assertive positioning in a really vulnerable position.
Well, no one's taken the ball inside 50 more than Jones. He's had 4 insides. Everyone else in the ground's had 2 or less. It's just damaging when he gets the ball. He's so clean. He covers the ground well.
The 15th goal for the season. Toby pops it through.
Well, he's had a few incidents and accidents along the way against the Western Bulldogs, but he has also kicked a lot of goals. Let's have a look at the free kick first.
There's eyes on the ball. I think that's usually what the umpires look for.
There's a lot of content there.
No, I mean, Fraser got back really well to help.
Here's Toby against the Dogs. 5 goals. 7 in round 14 in 2022. 4 round 6 in 2021. It's Toby in recent times.
Been a happy hunting ground, hasn't it? Toby.
And the Giants themselves have won their last 4 games here after losing, I think it was 9 in a row at one stage. No, it's their second home. They're home away from home, if you like. He just smashes it inside 50, quickly to Bontempelli. Iden does enough. Fraser coming charging through. Handballs it back to Bontempelli. Lob in the goal square. It took a while, but he was able to get it through. Brilliant out of the centre. All the way.
He was just trying to get his feet set there. The handball chain was and the over the tops were there, clean. Fraser off the wing was excellent. This little handball just out into space, Bontempelli, and then he's just getting his feet set.
Yep.
It's a bit of a Jesse Hogan set shot sort of technique going there, but that's a great response by the Bulldogs. They needed to get on the board.
We marvel at the vision of Bontempelli. Certainly Fraser is heading that way. Great vision, really good follow-up work. He was lucky in the end.
Still got 191 centimetres, Joel Fraser, playing only game 20, but really having an impact this season with midfield minutes. Kennedy's in there now with the opportunity. Green, clean in tough conditions. Davidson. And then taken down after got rid of the footy.
Darcy Jones again with his closing pressure, his speed and endurance is just standing out already this game.
We're now to Finn Callahan. Just the distance.
Well, Tim English making his way down in the forward 50. Kieran Briggs has gone with him.
Green. Down in the path of Riccardi. But at the back of the pack is the ruckman, but there's a push. Which way is it going this time?
It's okay. It's worked out of the contest there.
Well, that's why that kick can go, sorry Bucks, that's why that kick can go to the top of the goal square, because Kieran Briggs has gone down to make Tim English accountable. So it's genuine one-on-ones.
This for a third for Jake Riccardi from directly in front.
Once again, good forward-half pressure by the Giants to force that out on the floor. There's not much in that. I would have thought.
Put a bit of mail on that one, Louis.
Yeah. I think he just felt the hands in the back and maybe accentuated the force, which caught the umpire's eye.
It's probably Mark Briggs.
But this is what happens when you move lob down to the forward line. You're not better to play ball type of thing at the moment, isn't it?
Well, you're exactly right, Moons. That ball would have been perfect for Lob to come over the top and spoil. Tim English was taken account for by Kieran Briggs. Eventually marked the ball in the end.
It's interesting, you see so Rory Lobb kicks a goal down one end, and then we think he should be down that end. They are trying to shuffle the deck chairs in some
Plus
way
minus, isn't it?
to cover, yeah.
Defenders are in shock, but in the back's actually being paid now. Briggs gets the tap. Bontempelli tries to impose himself. Liberatore out of the tackle, and then to Richards, gets himself set. It's deep. It's going to Rory again. Buckley, good body work without giving away the free. Stumbling, but Harms was sweating on him. He's kicked 2 as well. What a contest we've got
He
here.
hasn't played the role of opportunist before. He's been a big-bodied midfielder and maybe a half forward that gets up to stoppage, but his 2 goals this evening have been first class, opportunist goals. He's buzzing here and then just takes the opportunity to get in, gets his foot to the ball. So the add to the snap from the first quarter, he's doing the job real well.
I think Buckley was just that distance out that if he had to rush it over,
It's too far.
there was a little bit of indecision, yeah, and it may have been deliberate. But Ryan not happy. I mean, it just shows the room for error in defensive 50 is minimal.
Well, and right across the field with these two sides, if you make an error by hand or by foot, if you fumble, if you don't take an opportunity when it's there, stick a tackle, you will be hurt on the other end.
Giants by 6 at quarter time. Currently a 5-point margin. Tight affair here between these two modern rivals. Johannesen. Good to see him up and running. Puts it out in front of Richards, well weighted. Plays on. Left foot ball. Doesn't really time it. Norton. Couldn't get boot to ball. Buckley. Path of Dolan. They're under pressure again here, the Giants. Webb bombs it out any way he can. Cadman needs to be clean. Here comes West. Tries to get through one tackle. Gets the hand pass away. Bontempelli, big body over the ball. Scoops it out back towards Johannesen. Has a little bit of time, a little bit of space. Johannesen uses both to perfection. 2 in a row for the Dogs.
As you're saying in that first quarter, Geordie, if you can get it to the outside and not get drawn into the inside, and Johannesen was really well shaped. His opponent went into the contest and he stayed out and he became the beneficiary.
It's a dangerous position to be in, isn't it? I mean, you are there defensively. If the Giants were able to get it, you need to apply frontal pressure with Bontempelli.
What was that? Was it a handball or was it like a
slap?
half knock? It was brilliant, whatever it was.
I'll tell you who's happiest that Marcus Bontempelli's come back in, and that's Ed Richards.
Yeah.
Like, he was getting the tag a little bit. I mean, Libber just keeps being Libber and getting the ball, whether he's got someone sitting on him or not. But Ed Richards is breaking the space. He's open because the focus and attention has gone to Marcus Bontempelli. As we speak, Bedford wind up on Richards in the centre bounce.
A lot of joy around the return of Jason Johannesen as well. Norm Smith medalist, of course. Just had back in the last couple of weeks.
So just on Bontempelli, he's had 10 disposals, 3 score assists, 5 score involvements.
There's a free kick going his way now. Drawing the attention as you'd expect. Spinning the ball in his fingers and then kicks it to Bont Jr. Or the baby Bont. Fraser keeps it low towards Lob. At the front, Sanders just overran it. Snapped up quickly by Whitfield. Carney gets it out of there, back to the wing. Stringer had to beat a few. He did that with relish on the bounce at half forward. Cadman took it quickly onto his left and kicking it long. It's not going to Hogan. Slinger has to wait for it to bounce. At least it stays true. It's a floating handball. Williams scored and experienced enough not to panic. And the follow-up, the crash and bash, and Cadman sees it over and out.
Some of the young fella's decisions have been excellent, Jed Bustling. He like to position himself against his direct opponent. He's got himself line of the ball, and after he's disposed of it, he follows up. He follows up to get a second touch and to be an out-number play.
As you alluded to earlier, he's never had a problem winning the footy. Bevo's made him wait on the defensive traits that he needs to bring to his game at this level.
Bounces short of both ruckman. Sanders, Arms, kick a couple. Towards centre wing. Norton makes a good contest in the air. Taylor tries to mop it up back to Ash. West has him covered.
Contest-to-contest work has been better this quarter by the Dogs. In the first quarter, that ball would have come out and probably allowed the Giants to transition. Another stoppage, you take 50 metres, give yourself a chance to set up again.
Substitute ruckman still working. Richards. Right foot floater. This is everything.
Yeah, he's starting to get forward of the ball. Richards making really good contest decisions. So as soon as they've won it, he's off on those 45 runs and getting used.
Dogs with a 1 point lead. Buckley, full consideration of that. Where to head next. All down the line was pretty much it. Oh, massive rise again from Cadman. Can't bring it down. Could be that sort of night. All floating forward. Dale, arms puzzling it. Back to Sanders. Back to the young man again, and then to Cleary. So that young defensive trio able to combine effectively. Davidson, high kick, lob at the front, Norton at the back. Took the ball to boot, so he handballed in hope more than anything where they rid him of the ball immediately. Iden, Richards, they just need 2 clean possessions. That was a scoop to West, not seen. And it's cost a goal. He doesn't miss many chances around the sticks. 3 goals from 10 disposals last week, but look at the replay of that one.
Yeah, I think Adam Kingsley knows that it was a throw, but both umpires were behind Joel Fraser in this particular instance, but Ed Richards is having another say on that one. It was pretty quick. What do we think?
Looked to get his, he tried to get his right fist there. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, well done.
I was about to say handball.
Hand is quicker than the arm.
Let's even go back 20 seconds when Bontempelli through the middle of the ground knew that Bedford was right on him and just kicked it. Didn't have the chance to bend down and pick it up.
But then Davison needs to play in front of his man too. That's what the Dogs have done better. They've been in front first to move. Their disposal efficiency's gone up by 12% over the first quarter, so they're hitting more targets. They're a little cleaner, and that's been able to get their forward game going.
Anzac appeal round. The Dogs have kicked the last 3. Take a 7-point margin. Riccardi's kicked 3 on his own. Tumbles the ball forward. Hold. Against Toby Green. In the way of Williams.
Now they've gained control back, the Dogs, this quarter.
Done that a few times with a step inside.
Gets past Cadman. Taylor slightly out of position. Oh, good grab. Contested Buku Kamas on Iden.
But even that kick there, that kick wasn't there in the first quarter. They tried to pick their way through it.
Buku looks for lob really wide. West arrives on the scene.
So there's clearly been something said at quarter time to trust the contest and kick long rather than try and pick your way through this Giants defence. Terrific mark by Buku Kamas on that occasion.
He's been a defender in recent years. Kicked 3 goals in 1 game against Collingwood early on, and he played there last week without much success. On the throw in English against Riccardi, should have been able to have hand and make the most of it down to West, but this time they do collapse on him successfully.
Dogs had 12 long kicks in the first quarter. They've had 10 already this quarter. So
Clear
there is
challenge,
a little go over a couple of contests, and then their run onto that front and centre has been open.
Couple of taps, Liberatore. Good one through last week. This is here.
So coaching plan, do you run through the options, Nathan, at the start of the week and say, right, we're going to start short, doesn't work, we'll go to plan B, or is it just develop on the run?
Well, it's a little bit about conditions. I'm not sure whether you would have come here thinking that it was going to be as slippery as it is, and it's hard to see for the viewers at home, but as you can see by the kicks that were slipping off the side of the boot and some of the handling, it is extremely slippery conditions. So you play it a little more like a wet weather game, which means you go longer than shorter.
And is part of that Rory log going forward as well? Do you think you're going to play a different method?
It may be part of the strategy that we need to have a target to go down the line 55 metres if we can't find an uncontested option.
Free kick to Cadman. Give it to Callahan, decides not to. He goes very short to Kelly. He's got Ash slipping over, just highlighting Nathan's point about the conditions. Hogan, strong contested mark. The first time he's really had a one-on-one opportunity on O'Donnell, and he used his body perfectly to protect the drop of the ball.
Well, having said what we have about the conditions, we've just seen 2 of the stronger contested marks taken, one by Karmas at the top of the 50 for the Dogs, and this one by Jesse Hogan. So the conditions are still, for the cleaner players, there's still opportunities there to take full effect, as Hogan did on that occasion.
18 goals since his last point. He has had 4 out of bounds, though, in that period of time. 15 straight this season. Stuttering approach. Jesse Hogan. And we've
It's always a balance in these conditions. How much grip are you put on your hands? Howie?
Never used it.
You didn't?
Hated having it sort of on your drop hand. Yeah, too sticky. Yeah.
And we'll take
Marking
some.
players, yes.
The bounce. Floats one, Norton. Clear run that time and takes the mark.
Defenders used to cake it on.
And look how hard Sam Taylor gets back. As soon as he's lost that contest, now he is 45 metres away from the ball. He'll just keep putting himself line of ball 50 metres down the line to be able to impact aerially.
I wasn't expecting Liberatore to be the next target. Now the kick was truncated down, but it lands on the 50 to no real significant target. Fraser still drifting in. His kick wiped away. So Davidson, little no looker to Sanders. Libba has just made himself useful out wide on the right boot. Effective enough. Little nudge from Ivan. And he's ticked off.
I think the other thing on those long kicks, because it's predictable, they've been able to get more numbers around that contest, so that brings in the Dogs' shape. We know they're a really good shaping side.
4 goal to 2 turn the way of the Dogs. Take a 7-point lead after a 6-point deficit at the quarter-time break.
Just explain that a little more about them being a good shaping side.
Yes, yeah, so shaping outside of contest, so effectively taking the ball from a contested situation to the outside and allowing the ball to still stay in transition.
Hogan looks someone to come towards him. Kicks down the line towards Cadman. English provides the spoil. Stone stands underneath it. Takes a good mark.
So they want this in the first quarter. The Giants were able to switch the ball, so they'll try again here, but the Bulldogs are a little bit tighter on the open side.
This kick has to be absolutely perfect. It hangs up a long time. Opens the door for Norton. Picks it up quickly, looks back inboard. Centering, just over the top of West. Slight fumble by Callaghan. Rory Lott provides the pressure. Callaghan goes again off the ground. Does well to exit the area, draws a free.
Yeah, so they get a free kick there, but that gives you an indication. In the first quarter, they were able to switch their ball to the open side and get that overlap run and effectively get it inside forward 50. That has been another change from the Dogs, really tightening that teasing distance on the open side.
Then Callaghan. Stylish left footer. Himmelberg, at the front, Toby Green takes his turn. Everybody's trying and no one is quite able to land it. You've got to stay watching though, we could have mark of the year tonight. Where? Along the line, English. And that's a good contest from Cadman. There's potential candidates everywhere for my goodies when you're looking at Toby, Himmelberg, who's done it before. Cadman's had a few cracks at it already. Stringer's had a crack. Stringer. Jesse doesn't get super high, but he can take a huge pack, man. Okay, I forgot this on the throw in. Briggs. Probably not going to be the mark of the year. Kennedy down to Harms. Things open up for him again to Luke Ritora. Ignores Norton, goes longer to the Beacon, who is long at the back. West again, hungry at the front. Hungry over for the ball or the man. It's a good latch tackle. And where?
Yeah, terrific by Taylor there. Just providing aerial support to Buckley. This is where they're dangerous, the Dogs.
English towards space.
Already 2 goals in the forward 50, the Dogs. 2 goals, 4 from stoppages. So this has been an area where they've been really active. Bontempelli on Bedford.
Plus 8 in clearance as well, the Dogs. So dangerous times.
9-4 this quarter, Howie.
Kick the last 3. And the Bulldogs. They're pressing. Liberatore burrowing in. Harms has got 2. Harms has got 3. What a night he's having. 4 in a row for the Western Bulldogs.
Right place, right time. His finishing's been elite. That's a career game in terms of being able to finish on the scoreboard, and he has got great skill. Harms and his ability just to be able to make these decisions in a short space of time, and this is a tight game, but his clean handling and his efficient use has got him on the scoreboard 3 times.
So that's certainly on target for a career game, but he has kicked 4 goals twice.
There you go.
Yeah.
In a half though.
No, not in a half. I'm pretty sure.
Career half then.
But that's a little bit of shape there, Hutto. So Liberatore and Harms just really setting himself outside the contest, so when the ball does fly out, he's able to be on the move, facing towards goal.
Yeah, Cardi 3 and Harms 3. Wasn't probably what we were thinking coming in.
Bingo, Kate.
Briggs gives that a mighty wallop to full forward. O'Donnell does well with the defence, but You've got to keep them down underneath. Toby Grant's helped them out by missing.
Yeah, that looks like the better matchup, doesn't it? O'Donnell on Hogan.
It's a great spoil from O'Donnell, wasn't it? He looked in all sorts and just got an arm in there and just put a nice little spoil on that one.
Forward to Cameron Mooney chatting with the coach of the Giants in the halftime break. Marlon, Bedford.
Unless the score changes, how? I don't think I am. I think he might be a bit cranky down here at the moment.
You're right, mate.
His biceps too, Moose. Good matchup with you.
Still got it.
Discuss pre-game who winner wrestle with the coaches. Kennedy overruns it. Bedford. Tom Green. Endo Wren to Jesse Hogan. Just had half a step on O'Donnell.
They finally win a decent stoppage there, Bucks. They finally get a bit of a run out of the stoppage or something they really haven't had this quarter.
First person to win a Rising Star and a Coleman medal. 366 career goals for Jesse Hogan. To break a run of 4 goals from the Dogs. Hits it sweetly, perfectly, and gets himself on the board.
Well, haven't we loved the way the journey of Jesse Hogan has evolved in recent years? You mentioned he was a rising star with the Demons. He really looked like he could be anything, didn't he, in the early days? And after some troubles, he went to Fremantle a couple of years there. It didn't work out for him and ended up being a bargain basement buy, really, for the Giants. Only 6 games he hasn't kicked a goal in. 49 goals, 77 last year in the Coleman.
He's number 1 fan.
Oh, it's great persistence. It really is. Really didn't enjoy his time over the West, but to be rejuvenated and to give another opportunity to him.
Well, he stood up at the pointy end of the season too, hasn't he? Like a couple of years in a row now, been the most damaging forward target when we've got to the end of the year and in finals, and that's a great feather in his cap, given the journey that he has travelled, and dangerous everywhere at the moment.
Much needed goal, back within 6 points. Falls short, followed by Williams, so his recovery was critical. Under pressure, Bramble, they're swarming here as a man free goal to Bramble.
They're away there if that free kick wasn't paid.
It's a bit like that. It's so marginal, isn't it? Just an error here or there. Both teams are really clean. If they get an outnumber and an overlap, it's nearly gone.
Great support for the Giants here in Canberra. It's been a tremendous part of their development in recent years. They're not happy with the umpiring, it's fair to say. Over Kennedy's head. The fist came from Karmas at the front. Bedford knocked it out. Arms taken away from him. Kennedy goes again. Sweeping through Stone. Bit slapdash and hope for the best. If it bounces, it could be trouble for the Bulldogs. They had a couple of swoopers though. Johannesson forcing it forward to Sanders. Hustling it to the outside to Dale. It was in safe hands. Davidson a nervous wait, but the ball stays true. And Dale, who is prolific off half-back, able to gather the footy and his thoughts, keeps it low. He channels it into the pocket. Disrupts him by Whitfield. Taylor, Whitfield happy enough to go all the way across the defensive line. To Buckley, who can stride out with a bit of time on his side. He's gone to a one-on-one. Harm's having a good night, but Kelly beats him that time.
Kelly looks laterally inboard.
Oh, you got Whitfield in the middle. Does he bite off that one?
Thought about it, but in the end went the conservative approach. Well, that's not that conservative when you're hitting up Jesse Hogan. Bramble, bit of speed away from Green, does it easily in the end. Pumps it into the pocket. I've got important hand in to spoil the Taylor mark. Ash on the left, out in front of Whitfield. Beautifully weighted, didn't have to stop, in stride. Now to Himmelberg. Gathered on the outer side by O'Halloran, comes back inboard. Briggs rides the body over the ball, got the free kick. Whitfield took the advantage.
The umpire didn't call it. I thought he might have with Whitfield. Advantage play on. So they just get a chance here, the Giants, just to lock inside their forward half.
Briggs in his 7th year goes back to Taylor. He's got Ash on the overlap. Piercing ball forward is effective to Bedford.
It's a risky kick, that shallow inside 50. Bedford and Bontempelli just on his hammer. But if you had it looked longer, Tim English was there just through the top of the goal square, so that might have been an intercept mark.
He's got the journey sneaky long, isn't he?
Yeah. It just comes down to how fatigued he is at the moment.
Former Demon. Bontempelli will stand on approximately 50 out. Out to the right. Gives it everything. Hits it well. Bedford. Half post high. Giants respond with a couple.
It's great. Running with or tagging is a challenging role and up against the better players. And the Giants have favoured Toby Bedford against all sizes. He's run with Cripps, he's running with Bontempelli. It doesn't really matter about the size, but he does get forward and he will run and challenge going back the other way. And when you can finish and take this opportunity, it does put the onus back on your direct opponent.
That was probably just a lead to try and engage Bontempelli. He might have not thought he was a genuine target. Just the switch of the play, coming back inboard, lowering the eyes. He's become a really good kick around the corner, Toby. When he came into the AFL system, he was very straight line, so didn't have that depth kick that we saw there.
Scores on level. We're getting close to half time, so a big 2 minutes 45 remaining in the second. Briggs prevailing with the tap, but Bontempelli comes out with the footy. Trademark handball over the shoulder, but it went to Ash, and now it's in the Giants' terms. Whitfield, watch out, Callahan. That's what the small forwards and the high half forwards can do. Rushing up Vandermeer. He ignored Bontempelli. That's courageous. Chips it instead. Dolan looking around to see whether he was going. It was designed for Rory Lott, but almost came off. Handball from Buckley. Deft little tap from Ash. What about that for a handball from ground level from Himmelberg? And they're away again up to the wing, but bad news is it's coming back by Johannisen into the middle. Fraser off half back on this occasion. He tried to make the kick fit, but instead there was two Giants in the path. One of them was Callahan, who quickly turns and sees Stringer get into a dangerous position at half back, and he has stumped it long into open space.
Perfectly weighted. If he can just get onto it here, Thomas. The defenders come the other way. Thomas massages it forward to Toby, who'll stroll in. Pop it home. Oh, no!
Why didn't he just kick it onto the ground?
Why didn't he give the handball away?
I think he was thinking about drawing that player and going to Riccardi. He probably had about 5 things going through his head, which is why
He had too much time and too many decisions.
A lot of questions, no answers. It came off the ankle from Toby Green and hit the padding, as Dennis would used to say.
He just punched that to the middle of the goal. Let it slide on.
It's given him the lead. That's about all. He's still trying to come to terms with it. He gets his breath back. Briggs knocks it to the front. Richards v Green.
it's become a high transition game. I mean, Giants have gone in 24 times, which is, that's around 50 for the game. But once again, they've given up 29 inside 50s against for a half. That's on their season average, which is a huge number. For their back six to be able to hold up with that weight of ball against, it's pretty impressive.
Reflexes from Green, but in the end it's Richards and Kennedy and Liberatore and English and Kennedy again. Great spread from the contest. Half forward, the fist of Taylor, fearsome as always. High contact free though. He gave it up to Norton, so they get back to try and protect. Norton scours the 50. He saw a couple of Bulldogs converging on the drop zone. Richards made instructions, but the footy didn't do what he asked it to. It's gone out on the full.
I think the other pleasing thing from a Giants point of view is their transition game. So 4 goals from D50, 5 goals from defensive half.
The old tsunami.
So 26 points from D50, which would be pleasing at half time for Adam Kingsley.
Iden to the flank. Arms kicked 3 in the first half alongside Riccardi. Scores it across the line.
Could have been 5 if Toby had nailed that goal.
It's a great contest, isn't it? It's relatively high scoring. We know it's really tight inside. The good players are popping when they get their opportunities and they take it. They're standing out. It's not a place for the faint-hearted either. Every player on the field required to put his body in the line.
Everything we'd expect from this rivalry. Looked out to Liberatore. It'll land in a dangerous area. Rory does everything but take the mark.
Everything except the aggro. We haven't had any of that. We haven't had that for a few contests between those two teams, so something might spark it in the second half. Who knows?
Back here, guys. Give his pathway here. In front of you guys, okay?
A battle, and there's a free kick. It's a block. It's going the way of English.
You know, it's interesting when the umpire blows the whistle and no one knows who free kick it is.
It was an unusual one because the ball hit the ground before either ruckman made any significant contact. So for a late goal for Tim English, first pick back in 2016 at number 19, the 23 All-Australian ruckman.
Hasn't kicked a goal this year yet.
After the siren, to date, the Dogs out to a 7-point margin. To a chorus of boos here in Canberra. Sends it home and sends his team to a half-time break. With a little margin, the Bulldogs 8-5-53, the Giants 7-6-48. 5 points, the Dogs up, they trail by 6 at quarter time. Perfect night for footy here in Canberra. Go to a break with the Dogs leading it by 5.
Super Saturday will take you closer to the action than anyone. Super Saturday live on a Saturday night, brought to you by the all-electric Toyota BZ4X. Some huge leaps. Not many of them have actually been converted to marks, but there's been plenty of action, plenty of drama. Two bold coaches making moves when it matters. The Western Bulldogs lead by 5 at half-time. Mark Howard is downstairs with Nathan Buckley and Jordan Lewis for their insights.
Indeed, perfect night for football here in Canberra. Good crowd as well. Nathan Buckley and Jordan Lewis, as you said. The Dogs, they were 6 points down at the quarter-time break. They've turned it around for a 5-point half-time lead and seemed to get a bit more dominance around the ball.
Yeah, they did, and as Louis mentioned, they wanted to go a little bit longer to the contest, and they really did welcome the contest more in the second quarter. Probably a bit of chipping around and shorter use in the first 30 minutes, but they were able to control themselves around the ball. They really did dominate the Giants in general contest, either out of stoppage or around the ground.
Oh, I think it was a really good play. At quarter time, they would have come in and Luke Beveridge would have understood that, worked out the game plan wasn't working with that sort of chip mark game. Go long, put Rory Lobb forward so you can trust that contest and be more predictable to each other.
Macca's half-time highlights, we saw 3 at one end from Jake Riccardi, and then James Harms pops up with 3 of his own.
Yeah, Hutto and I will take this up in the second half. We'll see if we can get another couple of goals on the scoreboard. But he was excellent opportunist in that front 50. Had 3 really sort of, I suppose, half opportunities and finished every one of them. So he's come off the wing to be able to run. And the Western Bulldogs wingmen off the back of that longer use, geez, they're running hard into forward 50 to try and get on the end of it. And Harms has done exactly that.
Without Sam Darcy, how have you seen the way the Dogs have targeted inside 50, Geordie?
Oh, certainly they looked better in that second quarter. I thought Norton got worked under the ball a lot in the first quarter by Sam Taylor, and they looked quite stable in defence, the Giants did. But that second quarter with Rory Lobb moving forward gave them 2 targets. I like the movement at Rory Lobb. He tries to block for Norton, but certainly launches the ball himself. So they look more stable in their forward 50 with Lobb down there.
Those numbers show that there's actually a benefit in it. If he's drawing the ball 8 times in just the quarter that he's been there, and Norton 5 for the half that he's been there, it shows how important Lobb has been to be a beacon for the Bulldogs' use inside forward 50 so that their smalls know exactly where to be.
At the other end, how have you seen the way the Giants have transitioned inside 50?
Yeah, I think it's been after last week, it's been a big improvement, 4 goals from the back half. So that was their transition game, and primarily it came in the first quarter where they were able to switch to the open side and get that run and gun game going. So you see there, 33 points to 7, so that's been a big improvement from last week.
So the Dogs lead it at half-time here in Canberra. Kath and Jack will have you covered with everything that's happened today. But now it's time for the end of the Toyota Hiluxathon Challenge. You don't send a ute to do a Hilux job.
I got really fiery against your former mate, but what was done in and around the game with you?
Yeah, I just got a bit frustrated, I think. I'm still trying to learn from them moments and just keep my cool a little bit more, and it was just a little one-time thing in the game, and I just need to keep getting better at it, keep talking to people and keep finding ways I can control myself.
Just talk us through a three-quarter time when Zach Butters put his arm around you, Connor Rosie and Ken spoke to you. What were they trying to get through to you?
You know, just for me to go there and play my natural game, which is, you know, go and get first to the footy and hunting the ball and not worrying too much about the other stuff. You know, you just got to control the controllables, and that's kind of what they were telling me.
A lot to unpack from a twilight thriller at Adelaide Oval. Port holding on to win by 9 points, making it 3 straight wins. This is Super Saturday Live, brought to you by the all-electric Toyota BZ4X. David King, Jack Rewalt, Jake Clark. There was a fair bit of feeling in this one. We heard from Jason Horne-Francis. What did the coach have to say, Jake?
Yeah, Kenny said that Jason Horne-Francis loses control on the footy field and gets a raw deal from the umps. But let's be honest, there's so much bad blood. No one at North has forgotten that he walked out on the footy club, King.
Yeah, of course they haven't forgotten. But I'll tell you what, it'd be handy if he was still there. How is it that Paul Curtis is the Kangaroos' best player? How is that the case at round 7
It's a big call.
when there's so many first-round draft picks, high-end first draft picks on this list, and Paul Curtis is the one shining light there at the moment?
Well, they had their opportunities in that last quarter. For me, it came down to poor skill execution. They were right into a few undisciplined actions as well. North had this game to take for mine against Port Adelaide. They were charging late, but for me, just let themselves down with skill execution.
I think we've got a fair bit to discuss in the Saturday debrief following that game. Plus, of course, the Brisbane Lions back on the winners list. We've got a lot to discuss after this game in Canberra. It is the Giants trailing the Western Bulldogs by 5 points. We're back to our commentary team next, led by Anthony Hudson and Mark Howley.
clearly it's a very good game at the moment. Did they get you around the stoppage in that quarter?
Yeah, it was a bit of stoppage in general play contest. They got us for probably a 10-minute patch, and we paid the price. You know, they scored a little bit too easy on some of the back half errors, and you know, they're a really good contest team, one of the best in the league, and we've got a bit of a lesson there for a 10-minute patch.
31 inside 50s. They kicked the 8 goals, but they haven't taken a mark yet, so clearly they're getting everything from ground level. Talked about that?
Yeah, we certainly have, you know, a bit of a stoppage-wise, 350 stoppage as well, so they're just hunting that ball, they're showing up in the right spots, and when they get it, they're pretty slick with their hands, so we've got to be a little bit better at competing in that space.
Going in forward, you happy?
Yeah, happy. I mean, again, a bit of that was them winning it, but I feel like we're scoring from really good areas, we're getting good shots at goal. We just need to keep providing some, you know, good opportunities for our forwards.
Thanks for your time, mate. Appreciate it.
Tight contest in Canberra. I wonder which coach would be feeling happier right now. Jordan Lewis, as we head into the third quarter.
Well, I think Luke Beveridge, I thought that quarter, you know, they dominated, even though it was for a 10 or 15 minute patch. He'd be pleased with the way they bounced back.
Marcus Bontempelli starting this third term forward. So he'll be in the frame here with English. A little handoff to Fraser, who can take them pretty deep. Lob and Karmas come at the footy. It wasn't a clean connection, so favours Buckley. He can run and bounce, and he's prepared to do both. Kick to the wing was a bit wishy-washy. So was the marking attempt from English. Again, goes to how slippery things are. High ball from Thomas to half ball. Well handled by Hogan. He didn't lose the footy. He did lose his dacks in the process. Don't get too upset. Kelly, high to full forward. They're coming with a rush. Himmelberg from behind. At the front, there's Bedford running away from goal. Green was set up for the snap. Again, it goes high. Just bring it back there to take the mark on the very last line.
That spilled chest mark by English is so costly because Buckley's out of position. He kicks it directly to him and they can go back inside 50 and the Dogs were actually +1. So you don't always see the results of your mistakes the other way.
Have to see the first half of the debutants get costly.
I thought he was great. I mean, we spoke about his positioning off ball. I think he's handled all comers. He's been pretty good in the contest. How many touches has he had? He's had 9 touches and he's gone at 80%. I think he's been relatively sharp. He's been where he's needed to be and stood up pretty well.
English. Tom Green shoved as he took the kick down towards Stringer. Clever tap to Callahan. He just tried to whip it out the back. Liberatore caught in the clinches. Kennedy. Bond bursts through the pack. Now Bailey Williams. Down towards Norton. He's caught in a wrestle with Taylor, who just does not ever seem to lose a one-on-one.
He doesn't give you any separation, does he? So they're the hardest defenders to play on. He's trying to wrestle your way through it, but that's all Norton needs to do. He just can't get outmarked. Just compete in the air and take that ball when it comes to ground as a little win.
Good wrestle, neither really well to make contact. Good follow-up from Briggs, but hands it straight to Richards. His kick curls along the line. He'll really threatened to stay in, and the umpire says, throw it in, please.
Right, it's Tim and Kieran again.
So Tim and Kieran prepare to do battle. Sam and Aaron wait a little further down the field towards goal. Like the Giants fans find a better voice for the encouragement. Bontempelli found any means to get it forward. Is that a mark? Yes, it is to Norton.
I thought that might have hit the ground. The umpire was in a better position than I am right here, Hutto. But just reaction time.
Hasn't had a scoreboard at all tonight. Game number 150. Let's have our first look at replay there. Good call. 11-7 for the season. 3-3 last week. Could have been anything. Had one out of bounds on the full, dropped another mark in front of goal. He's got this one heading just the wrong side of the post. That's where it stays. Could come down to accurate finishing in a tight second half here.
Well, you're not going to get that many opportunities against the Santola. We were just talking about it, and he's done well to get front posse. He's just kept that off the ground. Got to finish those chances against a good opponent, both individually and a good team in the Giants. Great take.
Buckley work.
Just good call, Bucks. That was right in front of me. They were sticky fingers on that one. That ball did not move.
Both teams bottom half in terms of set shot accuracy. Dogs 15th, the Giants 12th.
Ash and Whitfield on the switch. Got Himmelberg. Dip out on the flank.
Yeah, well, they've got to keep going wide now. The Dogs have done a really good job of covering the corridor. So it's either switch the ball again or long down the line.
And the double switch through the man playing game 100. Hasn't kicked an AFL goal as yet. Connor Ryden. Ash. Callahan. Ryden again. West did really well. Didn't give up on the contest. Bontempelli. Waits for the hand pass to Harms. 3 in the first half to him. Kennedy. Bailey Williams measures it. Sanders needs to be clean on the second attempt. Buckley gets him. On the ball.
He started this quarter well. Buckley's his run, his contest. And I was just thinking before, we know how competitive Sam Taylor is. It's no surprise that he's got teammates that are as hungry as he is. And Buckley's been a beneficiary and hates losing a contest as well.
It's a good mark by Cleary as he had Briggs bearing down.
He had that missed little handball in the goal square. It's like that has sharpened him.
Well, it's a great trade to have, to not want to lose a contest.
Cleary off to Williams, makes it his call down the line. Karmas, unfettered access to it at the back. There's both Bob and Norton to the inside. Now it gets dangerous. Bontempelli, West a step ahead. Taylor never had line of the footy that time, and that's just how quickly it came down.
I mean, he just put the ball where he wanted West to go. So West was actually on the other side of Taylor and just made the reaction time was just quicker than Taylor in that instance, but it was a terrific kick.
Just the flow and effect from Bontempelli being back in the team. West on the end of it, 7-6 in 6 games coming into March. We mentioned 3 last week, already 1 tonight. And this one, pretty much laid out was there from 20 out, through it goes. His second goal, and the Dogs' lead extends. Out to a 12-point advantage now.
This is what the champions do. He was relatively well held in the first half. 14 touches. He still obviously contributed really strongly, but Bedford was making life hard. Well, Bontempelli's come out, and at the start of this third quarter, he's had 4 touches. He's had 3 ground balls. That good direct goal assist, a couple of hard ball gets. He's imposing himself on the contest once more.
7th season at the club where his father won 7 B&Fs, record in the AFL era. And on the phone having a chat with the coach.
Well, his coach would tell him how good his contest is. He lays the smother in the middle of the field and then gets the benefit of it, less than a minute later at the pointy end.
The Dogs with the opener of the second half. Fraser who
with his head
hit the free kick.
It's a really difficult position to be in. I think if you're Tom Green here, he's done everything you need to do. That ball pops out.
So will he be in strife for that?
I personally don't think he should be.
But see, this is what it's become. It's not so much what Tom Green is.
Clear into the pocket, and Harms has the potential to equal his career high 4 goals.
Tom Green in some way needs to know that Fraser's going to lose his feet and lower his centre of gravity. But that Fraser's technique is really poor. Tom Green's technique is excellent, but Green's the one that's might be in strife for it.
3 goals for the season prior to tonight. He's already kicked 3. Harms. He's got the kicking boots on. 4 for Harms. And the Dogs get the opening 2 of the second half.
Well, they've skipped out, haven't they? This is a fair margin. After being down a couple of goals early in the match, they really have been able to arrest back ascendancy. And Harms is once again, like those wingers are deep. Davidson's playing on the wing and he's deep there, and Harms has an opportunity to float back into forward 50. But 4 goals from a high forward wing position. It's a great return.
It's a really smart lead by Harms, understanding that the big boys sort of patrol the goal square, and that space opens up for a wing, half forward, sometimes a midfielder to run into.
You're on to an early Bucks equal career high for James Harms now. And the lead has blown out to 18 points. Green and Kelly, the leaders, do just that, leading out of the middle. But Cleary not just takes the mark, but streaks away from Stringer. Kicks to half forward. Buckley took the initiative against Long. He's having some sort of night. Puffs out the chest. Runs into Harms, though, who's also having a great night. And so it goes the other way to the Bulldogs. Cleary, Dolan handled it well. His kick was a little too short and cute. Stone dumped it off. And Giants able to wrest back control. Ware to Kelly. Up and under. Riccardi trying to get to the front, but he does arrive and hits ball only. But play on as the Bulldogs get it back in their command. Dale's handball was a bit short to Williams. Wasn't easy for him. He got a handball away and it pans out nicely for English, who didn't want to take the wrong option. And he hits Dale with a bit of momentum. Dogs surging. West will take it. He's got two charging to go. Does he pick Kennedy or Davidson? He flops it up into the pocket, and it's Kennedy that takes the mark.
Not a bad guy to have it in the hands of. His left foot snapping is on at the moment. Don't want to moz him, but what a great transition. The decision by English there to overlook the first runner in Richards, who was hot, and then to find the right player.
He's looked so comfortable as a Bulldog immediately, hasn't he? Matt Kennedy, as we said, just an ex-Blue, but an ex-Giant. Pure off the boot. He's kicked two again. And when the siren rang for half-time, scores were level.
Yeah.
But they kicked a goal after the siren, and they've kicked three since. And they have blown this game. Not apart just yet, but it's heavily in their favour now.
It's now 10 goals to 4 as we look at the Bunnings build-up here. That was the handball that English was able to get across. Yeah, and Cleary's running off the half-back line. Dale's doing it. We know that Williams is that player as well, but good use going forward. And as I said, 10 goals to 4 since the Giants were 12 points up 20 minutes into the first quarter.
You're right, that run off half-back has become so important this quarter for the Dogs. No, you didn't moz him, Bucks.
If Hutto was... Yeah, we had a second.
Back we go. Nice lead. 24 points, Dogs. Game high. And the Giants respond. Bedford in danger against Buku.
Don't see that play that often.
Karmas.
There was a big tap by Karmas before. Once again, the runner's off half-back.
Lays it off to Williams. Gets around Bedford. Takes a cheeky little bounce. Just tried to place it forward. The smother was in effect.
Yep, so they haven't done that at all after quarter time, that sort of short chipping. So that one probably could have gone long to the goal square to the big boys.
Riccardi. Bontempelli streaks through the middle of the pack. Gets good power around the body. Lob, can't get a hand on it. Taylor didn't really get much on the spoil to a dangerous area. Back into the corridor. Harms. Kelly. Thomas. Caught with the footy. Was Stone into hot footy now. Snap out of the pack from Dale. Doesn't quite have the accuracy or through the hands of West.
He's a dangerous player, isn't he, Riley West? Doesn't matter if it's in the air or on the ground, whether he's got the position or his opposition has the position. He just makes the most of every contest that he finds himself in.
He's actually #1 in the competition for winning ground balls in the forward 50, which is a pretty good stat to be #1 in, isn't it? Makes you pretty darn valuable.
Well, he would have been seeing himself as a potential midfielder, but he's been reschooled as in his current role, and he's as important there as any player in the field.
Ash with the territory taker, something they need at the moment, but they're not getting. It's coming back again off Davidson's boot. Lob against two. Brilliant underneath. Fraser seems to be okay. Snap for goal is okay too. Richards took it. Another one for the Bulldogs.
The Giants players think they might have got it off the boot.
They did, but it didn't seem overly convincing.
With the Dogs forwards might be giveaway. They're sort of setting up as we speak. But once again, great vision by Fraser. Yeah. So there wasn't the touch by Taylor. It was before that. they've been where the player.
Checking it.
So at the moment, the Dogs 7 inside 50s this quarter, 4 goals too. So pretty much every time going in, they are hitting the scoreboard.
So this is our replay, not exactly what they're seeing necessarily, although was there a flutter of the fingertips there?
Kind of right. Yeah,
straight up, wasn't it?
Still waiting, so.
Certainly looked like it touched his hand live.
Got to be definitive though, doesn't it? No, it's moved yet.
This is score review, score confirmed. You can restart play.
Here we go.
Goal has been confirmed.
Okay.
Last 5 of the match for the Dogs. They're out now to 31 points.
Yeah, Richard just goes well.
He's looking to get back, I'm pretty sure.
So the Dogs making all the running at the start of this second half. Sanders, Frazier tries to break one tackle, hand passes to space. They're under pressure again here. The Giants, Callahan, good man to have it. It's Himmelberg.
And I think this is what they need to do, just gain control. So usually you can go into a kick mark game now.
The Dogs have been able to defend this aspect of the game really well since quarter time.
Cadman marks on his chest in front of Buslinger.
Jesse Hogan wants it quick. He's on O'Donnell, deep inside the forward 50.
Williams is dropping back and he has to try and protect the hole. It's 2-on-1 for Hogan. Bit of shoving going on. At the back comes to Green. Toby, a couple of opportunities tonight that he normally snaffled.
And even Jesse then did such a great job between 3 defenders just to bring it to ground. Yeah, that needs to go through. When all momentum is going against you, you'd love for your skipper to stand up and nail that.
It was like he felt that too. He had a couple of options to young players he could have handed off to.
Yeah. But he's delivered so many times.
Oh, he has. Yeah, not a criticism at all. But Frazier's targeting is excellent at North, so he's well up the ground, helping on Bulldogs' outward bound move. To the wing, lob, bit of wrestle to ground. He went, Buckley did enough. Callahan, the swooper, plays it back. Let's see if they switch or not. Stoner to handle to Ware. So they are coming out to the wing to Cadman. Striding out well. He looks to turn, but most of the immediate bases, the obvious bases are covered. Down the line, seemed to be a little confusion as to who that was actually designed for. The lead was from O'Halloran.
Yeah, well, it sort of looked like Riccardi too was breaking into that space. This is where they need to gain momentum, out of stoppages and clearances.
As you can see, Lockie Ash with the most possessions on the ground. Bont not far away. He's on 19 after 30 last week on return. Bont on Midfield. English to control things in front. Montempelli not the first time or the second, and there won't be a third.
One thing the Dogs have done consistently since quarter time is to have a 6 forward up in the stoppage, and that creates their momentum. They go like a dart through the stoppage, trying to create some momentum for all the other midfielders as well.
Yep. So it's been Richards, it's been Bontempelli. That's why it makes him so hard to defend, or so hard to tag. Is it a high half back coming up on him, or does it be Toby Bedford inside the stoppage?
11 of the last 15 goals. And on the way of the Dogs, they're out to a 31-point margin. A great record here. 7 times they've played the Giants in Canberra. They won 5 of them, the Dogs. Iden does well, but now he's got a bit of competition for the share. And Liberatore hustled out. Where Callahan driving ball forward. Favours O'Donnell, gets the back. Buslinger. Calm with the ball in hand. Cleary. And Davidson.
It's also given the switch. The angle of that kick has opened up the open side.
Hanneman, kick drifts down to Dale, who kept on coming.
Yeah, great run by Dale.
And cover run by Kelly.
And the channel opens up for Long. Reach was too good, he just had the jump on Buckley.
Yeah, so that's why the kick going inside 450 is so important. It wasn't to Jesse Hogan's advantage, but 2, it allows sides like the Western Bulldogs, who are so good on turnover, to get access to that open side where there isn't layers of defence.
So after not taking a mark for the first time since 2020 inside forward 50 in the first half, that is their 5th already in this third quarter. And it's raining goals. Lott's kicked his second. The Bulldogs have extended their lead to an astonishing 37-point advantage. And that is 6 unanswered goals, 5 unanswered goals in this quarter.
You were talking about which coach would be happy 15 minutes ago.
We
It's
know
pretty
now.
clear to know who is enjoying their work at the moment. The Bulldogs transition has been a strength of their season so far, and we're seeing it come to hand tonight. Sonny.
I think I'm all the lobster caught tonight, wasn't it? 7 of their last 8 versus the Giants. And a handy margin as well. 5 goals to 0 for the term, the last 6 of the match, and 12 of the last 16. So the Giants need to respond.
Yeah, big time.
Now, Davidson. Fraser, another clearance for the Dogs off the boot of Liberatore. Norton, fisted away by Taylor. Green. Stone, only as far as the Dogs. Now Kennedy squeezes it forward. English, they've got runners everywhere here, the Dogs. Across to Sanders. Now Bramble. He fancy squirting on white to Vandermeer. He was caught flat-footed. Buckley has been outstanding in defence. He's being besieged at the moment, though. Caught with the footy is Thomas. High-pressure game for the Bulldogs. Back to Sanders. Repeating side 50s off the boot of Johannesen. Coming from behind is the big fist, and the Giants repel momentarily.
Yeah, once again, the Bulldogs just controlling the outside of that contest. So Johannesen on that occasion. You see the Giants, O'Halloran in the back. So Cal Ward, moments away from coming on.
So Cal Ward on for O'Halloran. Eric's had a good look over the shoulder, trying to find where English was located. Ash to Callahan, he's wrong-sided here, but kicks it sweetly enough. Floats it for Jones. Crafty, bit of a standoff with Davidson, nimble enough. And now on his way, out on the wing, back to Jones. Overlap run, fantastic start. Giants get it back to the outside. He just had to wait underneath it, Kelly. It's an up and under number. Stringer didn't quite get the judgment right. O'Donnell sweeping, laying the handball off. River just stubs the kick out.
Yeah, but that's the spare behind the ball. So this run and gun game with the Giants, you've still got one extra behind the ball, the Dogs. So you've just got to pick the time when you come forward and delay. They pick the time perfectly then.
And they're running harder in transition now as well. Like the Giants looked like they were the better in the first 20 minutes, but since then, the Dogs have dominated transition, field position, both in offence and defence, been far cleaner and more efficient. Giants have given up another high inside 50 counts, 42 already. Just can't cope with that weight of territory against the better teams.
And tonight they joined the Giants at 4 and 3.
I'd like to see a 7th beyond the ball for the Giants as well.
By 5 points at half-time, the Dogs since then they've kicked 5 unanswered. They're out in the game-high 37-point margin. Dominating at the moment, the visitors. Out in front of Jones.
So if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen through that kid. He's on fire. He runs so hard in the open space.
Got another possession here, Jones. Clever hand pass. McMullen drives it forward, just too much on it for Hogan, who looks straight at the umpire or the man that delivered it to him to take the pick.
Yeah, I think you're right. Jones looks the most likely to get in open spaces, but I think what's struggling as well is the Giants want to move the ball to the open side. That's great, but the midfielders can't actually make up that ground.
That is to his teammates.
He'll be sore. Haley Williams.
Briggs in front, muscle through English. The reach, they've got it down to Liberatore versus Green. Kennedy again, possession 19. Williams slaps it back. Himmelberg with a double fist. Just to be sure. So he's gone back into the back half. A bit of time on the wing early on. Issues for Adam Kingsley. Disappointing loss last week in Adelaide. Beat St Kilda before that in gather round. Found themselves 37 points in arrears, and the free kick was going to the Dogs.
Like early in the second, the clearances are now 10-4 in the third quarter to the Dogs, and this is where they're getting a lot of their momentum from. That extra player and its stoppages that gives them the surge opportunity. It puts the Giants defenders under fierce pressure. They're on their heels. They're running back, trying to cover. It's just been a clinic, really, from the Dogs.
And you can't get proactive if you're the Giants midfield and you know you're getting beaten at stoppages. You can't be aggressive in the way that you run. The forward taps.
Calward on the ground, straight into it. He gave 322. The ex-Dog, 60 games at the kennel. What a player, what a warrior he's been for the Giants, playing on really unexpectedly this year. And I hope, reasonable hope too, that they can be right there at the business end. Williams, Bontempelli from the side, can't take the mark. Richards first to it, surrounded by Giants. Out of bounds to be fine.
We were talking before the game about the idea of bringing in another young player behind the ball. Well, if you've got this sort of confidence in the way that you set up through the middle, in the way that you're able to force the ball forward from clearance, well, it allows a young player in Bustlinger to either find himself on Riccardi or Hogan or Cadman and largely have a little bit more time and space to be able to do his job.
Nathan Buckley alongside Joy Lewis, Cam Mooney, plus 12 inside 50s, the Dogs dominating the term and now the match. And the free kick going the way of Dale.
Yep, it's going to be another inside 50. 1v1's ahead of the ball. Rory Lobb's the first one to lead.
Goes in that direction now, Lobb through his hands. Ball stays in play. Arms, kick forward, from Korea High. He's done it a couple of times previously.
To see Frazier down here at the moment, guys, just still in the hands of the doctors after that hit. That was probably about 10 minutes ago now, so still feeling the effects.
And Mooney on the boundary, Liberatore burrows in. Deputy's head. Gets the free kick, Toby not happy.
It's the second little drop there too from Toby Green, as we see in the blocks.
It's had a slight bit of lean forward.
Liberatore trying to pinpoint. Bontempelli pops up. And he'll line up for a 6th goal for the term for the Dogs.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't the option. I don't think Buku Carlos was the one leading out. There was a power of work that was being done behind the ball. But he's so good overhead. Marcus Bontempelli.
10 coaches vote last week on return. 6-time BNF winner. Twice runner-up in the Brownlow. 20 disposals tonight. To this point, looking for his first goal. He's kicked it behind. Bontempelli, a rare error.
How dare he? 9 score involvements too. 5 score assists, direct score assists from Bontempelli.
It's the overarching question for the Bulldogs for the medium term is where are the goals going to come from? Well, tonight, 4 from Harms, 2 from Lobb, 2 from West, 2 from Kennedy, 1 from Richards. Could easily have been 1 from Bontempelli there. Fumble, error. Ash had to recover. Good running mate to do that. Midfield's kick to the middle. A bit of chaos. Well, that helped the Giants. Dale rounds it up. Watch out, Riccardi. Tried to claim him. Slinger away. Up for Davidson. Just couldn't reach it. Taylor coming hard the other way.
It was a great recovery from Bailey Dale. They've really defended well as a group tonight.
The Giants have been going at allowing 1 goal in every 7 of their opposition entries. It's closer to 1 in 3 tonight with the Dogs, and this quarter alone, 5 goals from 12 inside 50. So that is not what we have seen in the Giants back 50 for the majority of the year. But the Dogs are able to find a way to unlock that.
Wahlberg is back as part of it now. All still to be won. Not having that guy being on your team. Tom Liberatore matched against Toby Green. Talent and determination around the footy. English knocks it down and follows up. Cleared a bit of a path, but Ward beat him to it. They haven't thread it forward through Ash to Whitfield. Decides to go left rather than forward yet. Now Callahan screaming for it down the line is Jesse Hogan. Had to stand, push back, did everything right except just couldn't get the judgment and then hang on to the footy. This time he's a bit annoyed with himself.
Yeah, well, but I think that's part of the issue. I mean, they do look for Jesse a lot.
Focus.
Yeah, and I think that on that occasion, and it's been multiple occasions tonight, there's been 3 Dogs defenders waiting there for that kick to happen.
But in the first quarter, the Giants forwards would lead out towards the kicker. Now they're all waiting for it in their forward 50. They're calling it in longer, which isn't working.
Lob. Collins, Ward, touch high.
Yeah, he's unlucky there at the lob. Looked like Ward just ducked a little bit when he saw Lob coming from his right-hand side.
Just further that point, 10 times he's been targeted. Jesse Hogan, 3, there's the next one.
Yeah, so that's on Jake Stringer, it's on Cadman. Yeah, the other forwards to provide options for the ball.
And the Dogs are the ones that are supposed to come in struggling for options.
160 goals in 321 games before tonight. A goal every 2 games for Ward. How his team needs this. Makes good contact. Going for the extra yardage. Just misses to the near side.
They are bereft of goals at the moment, literally in this third term. It's their first score, 5-3 to 1 point. Buckley, Karmas, it's over again and out of bounds. So Buckley's probably had more of the footy than they would have liked tonight because he's been under siege, but he's had 15 disposals. There's harms, as we said, 4 for him tonight, the third time in his career. Giants need a spark. Where will they emanate from? Keep it away from Bontempelli. Kennedy has been a colossus again tonight. 19 disposals. Devo's down into the violation of his address. Advantage taken by Bontempelli. Didn't quite get the kick right. And Himmelberg there. Step in and take the mark and swing it wide. Have they got the intent and the method to score?
Taylor back to Buckley, being held up across half back. Under 30 on the clock. Hyden takes some ground. Really presents up ahead. McDonald all over Hogan. We've got for footy Davidson. Opportunity.
Yeah, take the ball forward. I think this will be the message in the fourth quarter. Don't worry about switching the ball. Just take ground now because the Dogs are recovering defensively too fast.
Need a mark inside 50 here, the Giants, for a first goal of the term. Spills to Norton. Dominant performance that by the Western Bulldogs. They led by 5 at the half-time break. They kicked only 5 goals of the term. They've kicked 12 of the last 16, and the Dogs, at three-quarter time here, 13-8-86, lead the Giants 7-7-49 by 37 points. Up next, Nathan Buckley takes you into the Western Bulldogs box.
How's that, folks? How's that? Look at this game we've got on our hands right here, right now. It's the Bulldogs tearing away from the Giants in that third quarter. Wow, the Dogs were 5 points up at halftime. Now, holy moly, what is that? 37 points up. There was no stopping the Dogs there. They have come out to play. I'm sure the Giants will come back a little bit closer. But wow, that's it. The Giants are a better team without Stringer. I mean, that's possible because Hogan's always a target. I think Stringer was all right for Essendon because they didn't really have a target down there. And maybe the grounds are a little bit bigger, especially at the G where they played the Bombers a lot. Whereas I think Manuka Oval, it just looks a little bit smaller. So you might not have that room to get around Jakey Stringer. Wow, can you believe it? I didn't expect this margin, and of course, neither did the votes on the people polling. We've got 50% going for the Giants, 50% for the Doggies, who they think will win. Let's just quickly go and have a look at the goal scorers. James Harms there for the Dogs. He's got 4. He's looking for a handful. Riley West, Rory Lobb, Matthew Kennedy, all 2 for the Doggies. And of course, singles, Ed Richards, Johannesson, and Tim English. For the Giants, Jake Riccardi. He's got 3, best of them. The rest are singles. Harvey Thompson. Jesse Hogan only got the one, been well held today. 8 possessions, 6 kicks. That's it, 6 kicks for 1 goal, 1. Toby Green, 1 goal, 2 off his 7 kicks, 12 possessions. Toby Bedford has a goal also. There we go. I tell you what, maybe they do need to look for other targets outside of Jesse Hogan all the time. If that's the case, when Hogan's been well held, maybe they do need to look at Stringer in a few occasions. Lockie Ash, though, topping the table with 25 out there on disposal count for the Giants. Tom Liberatore, as I keep saying, he's having his ring-a-ding-ding season of his career. 22, tops the table there with the Marcus Bontempelli, both on 22 for the Woof Woofs. Lockie Whitfield, 21, he's next best. And let's just roll on down and see who else we've got there. Josh Kelly, 16 there. Bailey Dale up to 16 there for the Woofers. Tim English, he's not going too bad, the big man. 14 touches, 6 and 8. He's had 23 hitouts, 3 clearances and a goal. That's not too bad for the beanstalk of the doggies there. Tim English, well done. He's going quite well this season as well. Aaron Norton, though, he's been kept reasonably calm, hasn't he? Just a 10 touches, 6 kicks, 1 behind. Tell you what, the rest of the players are pulling their weight in the Dogs, that is for sure, especially with a form line like this and a score line like this. They are your team stats, your goal scorers. We're only a minute and a half away, 2 minutes away before the bounce of the ball. Let's just have a quick look at some of these team stats. You might be interested. Team disposals, not much in that, just the 14 overall. All right, we're going to get back there. Just look at the inside 50s, though. The Doggies holding the Giants well. 32 insides for the Giants, 14 scoring shots. With the Doggies, 43 inside 50s, 21 scoring shots. Let's have a look at the free kicks. Umpire having a field day, 14-19, 5 ahead to the Doggies. All right, that'll do for that just for the moment, folks. Let's get back down to the commentators, back down to the ground. Whew, my gosh, it's the Dogs by 37. Will the Giants make a comeback? I'm not so sure.
Coaching box, why they lead by 37.
Yeah, they would have been very happy with what they saw, and as you can see across here, if we look at the clearance line, if you look to far right, plus 16 is a great result, plus 6 that quarter. And with that 6 forward coming up and giving them momentum, they've been able to get points from those clearances, plus 25 for the match. We know they've been strong there, and they've been strong in turnovers as well. But 7 of the top 8 rated players are Bulldogs players. Midfielders, Richards, Liberatore, Bontempelli, Harms, Kennedy, and the right-footed Fraser, who has had clearances and contested ball. How's he going to look for the last quarter, Moons?
Yeah, it's a good question, Bucks, because he has been outstanding tonight, hasn't he? These are the kind of guys where recruiters really get... This is where they make their money. Pick 45 this kid was in the 23 draft, and he started as basically a small defender. Now pushed into the midfield, which now has made this midfield a hell of a lot deeper with this guy in it. We just see he's just a big body player. Has those 15 contested possessions to go along with his 19 possessions. And obviously his clearance work has been outstanding along with Bontempelli there. 8 clearances, 4 of those have been centre bounce clearances. So he just adds another great big body into that already strong midfield. So he's very exciting. We know he took a little bit of a bump earlier to the head. Took a couple of minutes to probably recover late in that last quarter. But he seems to be okay right now. And he's looking to finish off in a really big quarter here, boys.
Good stuff. Thank you, Moons. Western Bulldogs have the luxury of giving Marcus a bit of a breather before we start the final term.
So we did go down to the rooms, Ardo. I don't think anything too serious, but spent about 5 minutes down into the rooms.
Second worst quarter for the year, that was for the Giants. We've just seen Kennedy, another clearance out of the middle for the Bulldogs. Lob hunting. Green was strong. McMullen back through the middle, so it's on a direct line to goal. Green, absolute no room to manoeuvre at all there.
Yeah, more speed around the ball. So McMullen goes in there. Toby Bedford probably comes up as a half forward.
Snapped down by Riccardi, but the reflexes were quick from Kennedy, and the slide and mark from Norton was perfect. Karma's heading back to goal. A couple to see off. Looked like he'd removed Himmelberg as the main opposition. The Scouts are first at it. The Giants are Easy footy to handle for Callahan. Takes it back towards the Bulldogs goal. They have to be careful.
So they haven't had to tackle that often, the Dogs. They've only stuck 31 for the evening, but their tackling efficiency seems to be high to me. They've just been able to stick most of the ones they've had a chance to.
Norton back to a dangerous area. Karmas.
Yeah, already 3 goals from this part of the ground, 3 goals from forward 50, 3 goals too. So you're right, it's been a dangerous area for the Dogs tonight.
English tries to grab it out of the contest. Now falls to ground. Green. And as far as Richards, taps it in front of himself. Ash.
This is where you've got more room to move, so rather than a ball up, a boundary throw in.
And they've dominated the contest since quarter time too, haven't they? The Giants were well ahead in the first quarter, but since then they've been first to the footy.
Yeah, I think those players we spoke about, Fraser, Bontempelli, Ed Richards, Liberatore, just got great depth in that area of the ground at the moment.
Kennedy overran it the first time and then gets away from him involuntarily over the line the second. He's having a night, 21 disposals.
I think if you speak about how the game will unfold in the fourth term, this would certainly be an area that the Dogs would be happy with, stoppage after stoppage. They're in a really commanding position.
It's going to happen for the Giants. It's got to start pretty soon. Cardi looked it forward. Arms backing off, did well to Kennedy again. Incoming ball for Law. Fisted away by the desperate Buckley. Ash hurls it away of Tom Green. Quick turn and kick from Midfield, basically in one motion. Up to the wing, and again, well protected by Bailey Duck.
We talk about tactics of different teams and then personnel and how do you make that fit. Well, we've seen that the Dogs have an abundance of midfielders, so what do? So one of those goes to high half forward, Bontempelli, Kennedy, Harms at times, and they come up and they play at stoppage, which is part of the game that they're really good at. They maximise that and then get momentum for the rest of their game.
Callahan grabs it out of the contest, steers the ball forward. Hogan gets front position, O'Donnell right on it, Jessica hand passes out in front of himself, Cadman, Bedford through the head down.
Yeah, and they're in the stoppage, aren't they? The high half forward that comes up.
Yeah, and they're big bodies. They're clearance players. They're stoppage players that are playing a high role, but they use their strengths to their advantage in different facets of the game.
Riccardi almost drags down English in the ruck contest. Dale has the confidence to try and step. Kick was stymied. Now Williams. Down pass out to the running Johannison. Game 200 next week for Jason, all things being equal. Ware gets Karmas under it. Taylor back to Ware. We'll scrub around the corner. McMullen does more of the same. Frazier just taps it to himself, was clever. Williams. Frazier continuing to rack up possessions. Now Sanders.
Takes off again. Bulldogs pressing and pressing wide through Norton. Taylor a hard man with Iden. Stops that thrust at the very least. They get the switch going to Himmelberg, having a tough time getting under his control. Eventually succeeds enough with that, but it's not 15. It's not 15, so Callahan needs all his evasive skills and his strength. Bounds away with a couple of bounces, just waiting for something to materialise ahead. It didn't, so it goes back through Buckley.
The work rate of the non-ball carrying Giants isn't high enough at the moment. The Bulldogs are working harder in defence than the Giants' teammates are working for their ball carrying player. So that's why we're looking like the Giants just can't get through at the moment.
Kick back 5 from Ware. Bulldogs win possession. Karmas, he's got the rock lobster in the goal square, and he didn't need to get involved. And look at Karmas has put to his first goal of the year. Look at the jump for joy.
Pass or shot at goal?
I think he was trying to pass. I really thought he saw Rory lob. It just didn't. It was just a good kick. But that was
a tackle there, and that midfield defensive structure has been so solid.
It was off the back of a risk being taken by the Giants, trying to come back into the corridor, which they've been denied tonight by the Dogs. I think after quarter time, it's been a high-quality display of defence, and the way that you move off the ball, the way that you cut down space from the Giants, just allowed them to switch the ball, setting up early, and then when you get your chance to turn the ball over and get them on the offense, they've just been too efficient.
43-point game high margin.
7 straight goals.
Unanswered. Dogs fans, they couldn't have believed this could occur tonight. Callahan tried hard all night. Tries to go back and access the corridor. It doesn't work out.
Giants forwards do have a habit of sitting long, 2 or 3 disposals away at times, and that might work when you actually are transitioning, when you are moving the ball, but right now they need to be higher.
Arms down with more. Intercept mark from Taylor came in tonight with 32 of them. Led the comp by 8. Extraordinary number.
It's a good call, Buck. They haven't been able to adjust with how slow the ball's been moved, have they, from their teammates down the ground?
Well, they're probably playing their role, and they've been asked to, as this kick goes over the top, been asked to stay long to create space for the high backs and the mids to be able to use it and get it to them, but that's not happening.
Your natural instinct as a defender, as a forward, is to run back when you know they're going to be running it through the middle of the ground.
Oh, we've seen some attempted speckies tonight. That was Sam Davidson. Fraser's had a night. He pushes it back in play. In the end, West was trying to dive on top of a third.
That may have got him the 9 or 10 coaches' votes. There'll be a few who'll be putting their hand up tonight for that.
22 disposals for Fraser.
He had mid-20s last week. Without having massive numbers, he was able to have huge impact. He's doing the same tonight.
Disrupted play again. Can't take anything out cleanly. Liberatore. Sub is on the ground. Clipper Hines. Down to Harms and back to Hines again. He's searching for his first AFL goal. Top of the square. Great things that headed. Able to get one.
Yeah, well, he could have a pick at that. Then
it's a luxury when you can sub Bont out. Replaced him with Hines. No injury concerns. Just managed. Second game back.
We played 71% last week. He was on 83% of the 3 quarters this week, so what a luxury to have.
Oh, word. He's had 22 disposals as well. The Giants take on Sydney next up at the SCG. The Dogs take on Port Adelaide, who had a tight win over the Kangaroos earlier on today. He'll put the Dogs 4-3. Arms straight with the back. Kennedy overruns it where Fraser again, not a possession but an important little tap. Now to Davidson, tackled as he sent one towards goal. It comes, but it's not quite enough. He's trying.
yeah, so Liberatore 25, Kennedy. It has been about efficiency tonight, hasn't it? Not huge numbers in terms of just the volume of disposals from the Dogs. It's just been sheer efficiency.
Might make his mind up. He does now, Himmelberg. Yes. Can get the ups for a shorter player. Can't take the mark against Buckley. So let's have a look at the live ladder. As I mentioned earlier, they will be equal in terms of points, and that percentage is closing. It's pretty early in the year to be looking at the live percentage within a game, but she's tight now, and they've really only had one game where you couldn't have seen them potentially winning this year. So given all their injuries, with Beveridge, he's coaching like a coach that be nearly out of contract. The kick goes forward towards Cadman. Can't quite bring it down. Jones in the pocket. High ball. Back for Harms to fist away from the Thomas kick. Ware makes the running. Bit of a blind handball in hope more than anything. Cadman, Stringer. Took it. No, he's going to get a block straight away from O'Donnell. Chaotic handball. Williams just sort of walks it over and it gets ticked off.
Yeah, so Cadman, I'm still looking at the forward line in terms of the influence on the game for the Giants.
Riccardi's kicked 3 and he was dangerous early, but it's been really quiet since. Cadman
Stringer,
hasn't had a shot on goal.
He's not really providing any aerial or ground level contest for the ball.
Green got it, but was taken straight away. Stringer let retire with relish. Ex-teammates going at it hard. Dogs win it back again. Sanders up again to Frazier, back towards the wing. And another free kick going the way of the Bulldogs.
The Giants have only had 21 inside since quarter time. So that,
34 inside.
It's what is it, half and 10 minutes. So the Dogs have done a great job to restrict the access to the Giants forwards.
It's down the line to half forward. Up with players there, comes off hands, and it goes out. Back to Luke Beveridge, I mean, to drop Liam Jones, and he explained that he wasn't doing all the things that he normally does. He had a disrupted pre-season. We know Bevo's always been a bit peculiar when it comes to selections, but he's his own man, isn't he? And he seems to be really coaching them well.
Without fear or favour is the statement that comes to me. He's not really concerned about what people think or say. He's got his group in his palm at the moment. He's making the right decisions that he believes is going to improve this team.
Still a host of players out. Obviously, Sam Darcy last week, but they're missing Adam Chalor, they're missing Wakeman up forward. There's gone for a long time without Montempelli. And obviously, Jamar's not in the picture.
As we said, 7 players, 20 games or less in this 23, which is a remarkable number to consider that they're carrying so many players with such little experience.
Another inside 50 off the boot of Richards, falls to a dangerous area out the back of everyone. Here comes Davidson, Norton, Vandermeer, peroxide blonde hair, dashing through as the impressive Jones creates space for himself, sends it to a battle on the wing. Green gets rid of his opponent, Dolan. Buku's there, Bramble, and they'll set up again in the middle of the ground. Dale quite control the footy. Opportunity now for the Giants. Hogan, a rare bit of space into the path of Stringer. He's had a couple of attempts tonight. Just throws it forward. It was clever in the end of Cadman. Toby Green will waltz in and place it through. Finally, a goal in the second half for the Giants.
It's taken a while.
Toby's body language said it all, didn't it?
Yeah, he didn't really want the handball, but he was sort of there, so Stringer had to give it.
It's going to be undefendable.
Turn it up, Louis. He wanted that handball.
Just to get on the board, you see here, Stringer
Had to be given.
going forward, but great handball over the head to Cadman. Yeah, then Cadman just looks after the skipper, Toby Green. So run and carry off half back. Dustin Jones was a player. That type of player's been rare tonight for the Giants.
Frustrating night, 2 goals, 2. Couldn't get amongst it last week after kicking 5 the week before. What do you do when you're a tagger, when your man gets subbed off? Gotta get the ball yourself, man. Green read the English tact. Superior fashion. Richards doesn't take long before he accelerates away. Maybe not the wisest place to bounce the ball on the centre wicket. Now Davidson just hacks it forward off the ground. Norton in his 150th. Can he turn and snap? Well, he can, but he decides to pass it. That's the mode they're in. They're sharing the joy and the footy. And West again, knowing exactly where to run to receive.
But I think that's the conversation now with the Dogs, is who do you tag? Bontempelli's the obvious one, so you probably start on him until someone else pops up. Then you've got to go to Edwards, someone else pops up, then you've got to go to Frazier.
Can you believe that this is Riley West's 5th touch? This is only his 5th disposal of the ball, but he has been influential tonight in so many ways.
His 4th kick produces his 3rd goal.
His work rate is through the roof. You think, okay, the bloke's going to work that hard and he's going to hustle, he's going to create opportunities, that he's going to be able to get his hands on the ball. But this is, as you just said, so that's his 5th touch. He's got 3 goals from those 5 touches, so he's been able to hit the scoreboard. But the number of times that he's created a spilled ball, or he's tackled a player, or he's knocked it out into space for his teammates, and the work that he's doing has been first class.
One of the Giants now, Geordie. They'll go to 4 wins, 3 losses, but they'll have dropped their last 2.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Well, yeah, I think their midfield has been well beaten, and I think not only on the inside, but certainly the outside. We speak about the amount of times they've switched the ball. They just haven't had the leg speed to actually make up the options on the open side of the ground.
Take on the Swans at the SCG next week.
Yeah, I think their transition's been a real issue. So, hearing that they spent a fair bit of their time this week on their offense, trying to generate some ball out of half back.
Just their midfield's looking different now. Lockie Ashett's gone into the midfield, Toby McMullen, so they're looking at something different, the Giants, for this last little bit of the game.
Griggs only as far as Vandermeer, spun in the tackle, Liberatore slick hands. Frazier's had some game. Ali Dale's been penetrating off half back. English, good contested mark.
Had the drop there, Stone, just wasn't able to affect the spoil.
Missing Cornelio and Brett Daniels is an important player there too, isn't it?
Yeah, that link player, high half forward.
From out on the game, ground pre-game, Brent Daniels. Another inside 50, West. Been threatening to take a big mark, both sides tonight. Umpires paid the free.
This might hit it. Norton was quick to pick that one up, wasn't he? Did not even look at the umpire.
Nice way to cap off 150 games.
$35 goals last year, lowest return in 4 seasons. He signed up in 2032. Aaron Norton. In game 150. Eases it home and his teammates come from everywhere to celebrate. Popular player. And this is going to be a big, big win away from home for the Western Bulldogs. Now have a look at his journey. Very different when you see him on draft night. He was short back and side, still towering over the coach. Started his career that way.
Started in defence for his day or night games. Picked his first goal in his 10th, but learned he could fly too.
When the perennial question, down back or up forward, the coaches like him up forward. He came in tonight and gained 150 Aaron Norton. Before tonight he kicked 237 goals.
I think in the modern game, it's a lot harder to find a player that can give you consistent contests in front of the ball than it is to find a player who can play on that role at the back end of the contest. So once you've got one, a player that's got that aerial ability and the ability to contest, he's been able to build a forward line and a game plan around it.
We have in WA, Aaron Norton. The Giants do get some meterage out of the middle. Cleary has been solid back there to Karmas. Met by the determination of Callahan. Midfield had it, but only for a fleeting moment. Could be to know that these.
That's exactly what that rule was there for.
Kennedy.
That's what you do all of the work in the gym for. So if you can actually get through a contest like that uninjured.
To Weston to Norton again. Off he goes to Johannesson towards full forward. Flash of blonde hair at the back is Davidson's, but he will go the thorn in the side on that occasion.
Well, that could have been really dangerous, couldn't it? Kennedy one?
It was dangerous.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot worse.
Wide to Bedford. The Giants try and progress to Darcy Jones. Led by English, the ball sliding through, but over and out.
Just the use of English in general play is interesting. He very rarely gets forward of the player. If there's a
less so now, I think, with the way they're setting up, mate.
As we see this one, he wasn't quite as light as
I think Kennedy, I think as players, if you're in Kennedy's position, you know exactly what's going to happen. So you do put yourself in danger as well.
To get free.
Yeah.
Little handball club on the outer side.
This is what they do best.
English steps around McMullen nicely. Then sends the ball deep forward. The intercept king, though, Taylor is there.
We're talking about English. If the opposition ruckman drops in behind the ball, he can go forward and he'll get forward of the play. But more so, he's being used through the midfield as nearly like part of their transition defence.
Yep.
Because clearly he's a better runner and user than he is a contested, combative big fella.
Well, from Bustler was pretty effective, at least to stop them, and then Callahan Get some tackling treatment from Johannes. A great article from Jay Clark this morning, an interview with Luke Beveridge about a whole lot of things, which is very much worth reading, the insights. And one of the things he said was he changed the amount of game time the big guys are playing, so taking them off more so that they can defend better with their smalls. They have to defend here. Callahan fires it into the forward pocket, sits up for Hogan. In the corner, doesn't take the shot, tries to slide it in for Cadman. Darcy Jones deserves a goal, but even he can't convert.
For the Tours to get their time off, someone else has to take that. So it might come from, it might come from
bigger minutes.
Bailey Dale, who plays an extra 3 or 4%. Johannesson might have to pay 3 or 4%, but it's how coaches utilise that and conditioning coaches utilise that is a fascinating sort of unspoken element of the game.
So was Norton and Taylor. Also talked about a revolutionary analysis system he was developing as well that Jay didn't give too much away about. Ash into Jones. This is better. Ward onto Riccardi. Kicked 3 in the first half. Can't add to the tally.
Poor Rory Lobb hasn't had a spell tonight. He's played.
He's taken all the minutes.
100% of the game time.
And on the other side, Taylor and Buckley have played 100% of game time.
It's usually defenders, isn't it? I know Rory Lobb's playing 4 tonight.
Skip to the right and then back to the left. Bramble eases them out to the wing. There's Lobb versus Buckley again, collaborating with Taylor to make the spoil. Somehow a handball from Green connected with Taylor. 1-on-1 again. Hogan against Bramble. Didn't take the mark, but he does give Bedford a clear path. And finally, they will make the most of their opportunity. That's on the back for Jesse Hogan for his labour there. The handball off.
Yeah, good contest by Jess too. For the ball, this was one that was won in their forward half, so Taylor just putting it on the boot. And Hogan beat Brambles. Hogan's had to win those ones 9 out of 10 times. And it was Toby Bedford that just made the option running forward.
Tom Green really strong to stand up there, and this is what you do when your tagger goes off. Or your targets.
Yeah. So 2 goals for Toby Bedford for the night.
Outside by English, who just taps it straight down to Richards as a result. Norton, Buckley.
Where you want it, Ed? I'll put it right there for you.
Buckley and Taylor have been good down back, but it's been down there so often.
56. It's going to be over 60. They've averaged 58 against. Bottom 4 for the comp at allowing their opposition inside the scoring zone.
Plus 17 inside 50 Dogs.
If you're going to allow that, it's going to get you.
Hogan nearly got the one-hander drawn in, bustling it. He's had a nice debut and will sing the song in his first game.
He's got his hands on one, hasn't he, Jess? Is it being able to stick them?
Fraser, one of their best, alongside Richards also. Midfield stands underneath with Vandermeer. There was a hold.
Both been holding, haven't they?
And can't really.
Kennedy's been good again. Fraser's been good. Harms with the 4 goals. Yeah, it's been dominated by the Dogs midfield.
Cardi, 3 goals in the first half. Ward up into the pocket. Hogan getting close. Bustling, look at that.
Even a commitment from Toby Green late in the game.
First bit of real niggles we've seen. And the youngster on debut thought, here's a chance for me to ruffle a few feathers if I can.
Well, you don't take your opportunities and your moments to stand up, put your body on the line and make those plays, regardless of what the scoreboard says, and that'll definitely come up in his tape, maybe even the team review.
Was thrown, hurled by Riccardi to Tom Green, who loves a left-footed snap. And he's landed that one. Hasn't been much to cheer about for the Tom Green fan club tonight, unfortunately.
No, well, I mean, we can't say he's been one out, but he's generally taken the lion's share of the Giants' contested possessions, and the fact that he's had 26 touches himself, he's had 12 contested possessions, but he just hasn't been able. Well, the Giants' midfield hasn't been able to withstand the consistency and depth of the Western Bulldogs.
That's the progression of Tom Green from an overall rating point of view, getting better and better.
What stage did he get his 10th?
Is that for a while?
Okay, so back when he was number 80?
I think
Yeah, I
for a
reckon.
couple of
It
years.
seems like it's been there for a long time.
Yeah, quick.
Certainly when he was 99.
Richards is in front of Kennedy. Whitfield comes strongly the other way. There is Tom Green out to Callum Ward, champion of the club. Little sidestep. Drop forward to Toby Green. Skip a couple to skipper. Plays on. Sends it deep to the advantage of Hogan. First time we've really seen him get one advantage tonight. And he's drawn down off the football.
Yeah, good kick. Inside 450 to the advantage of Jesse. Who's been wrestling a lot inside the 450, Jess.
One in the second term. Jesse Hogan. Couple of little late finish. Plays on. Snaps it round the corner. Jesse's got two, and the last three have come the way of the Giants.
Dogs did actually get ahead of them on percentage at one stage during this game, but the Giants will be in sixth position tonight ahead of the Dogs in seventh.
We've seen that 2 or 3 of those the front on contact free kicks that are paid. And in that setup, obviously you've just got to make the ball your focus and go highest point, but make sure that you're body lining the body of the defender coming the other way.
Does it get frustrating as a coach when you've dominated a game and you give up late goals? It's always frustrating for supporters.
Well, the coach being frustrated, just wanting everything to go right.
There's not a lot that hasn't gone right for the Bulldogs this evening, but you don't. Probably the defensive coach, the back six coach, is probably disappointed that his numbers might not be as good as they would have been otherwise.
His numbers. No one got the tap out. That English got a clear path forward. Bedford still working away. Can't take it cleanly. Thomas and his little hand to Ware, and now Whitfield already taking the corner to get clear. Cross half back to Callaghan, made him a bit of a target. Harms twirling away, made the spoil, and then was able to cut off Middleburg's path to the footy as well, and it's over the line and out of bounds. 4 goals for the Premiership Demon, of course played in that flag against the Western Bulldogs. 9 seasons there. This is his second under Luke Beveridge. I think Jay Clark mentioned in an article is how Luke Beveridge and Simon Goodwin got together while they were in Bali for a couple of refreshments.
Campfire signal.
Yeah, and the guitars came out. Don't think for good. He was on vocals.
He had to sit and listen, did he? They both playing the guitar.
The tambourine. He's Richards to the top of the square. Hines, not quite. Whitfield just... Oh, Taylor wasn't ready for it, didn't want it. Davidson, why not? He shoots, he scores. It really isn't the Giants' night.
What Taylor was doing there. He certainly wasn't expecting the handball to come to him. Got poked in the eye. Yeah.
Side foot. Just a nice little strike on it.
Anything else in the article, Hutto, while we're here?
It wasn't 2 pages.
That's 8 from you, Jordan.
39-point lead to the Dogs. A wonky bounce. 3 clearances for the Dogs for the match tonight, which is a record for any team in season 2025. English Richards taken away from the football, managed to get a little toe poke on it. Another clearance. Callahan copping for his troubles there. Ware will be under pressure. And Dolan. Lob tries to apply a bit of his own. Taylor. Now the Giants through Ward, who was used as a sub tonight. Hogan gets early body on Buku. Kelly back there. Comes back to Stringer, steps in and out, left foot. Oh, that's a good mark in defence by the former Hawk, Lockie Bramble.
Jake's had another frustrating night, hasn't he? Just hasn't been able to get any impact in that front half. They haven't had as much supply. It's been 42 inside, 43 insides for the Giants, but it's not enough to make something happen.
2 behinds for Jake Stringer. Stone to Callahan, prepared to kick it off the right. Got decent perch, it's down to Cadman. The free kick goes against the youngster who throws his head back. Same draft, those two. Both really high picks. Cadman number 1, of course. Now he has the opportunity to convert. Hasn't hit the scoreboard. 6 goals, 10 coming in tonight. He steers that one through. Kicked 3 behinds last week. He missed one from about the same distance, so it'll be a semblance of relief for him.
Yeah, that sort of late dash here, 5 goals, 5 of the last 7 goals to the Giants, but too little too late in the end. They'd be bitterly disappointed after starting the game off in such good fettle. They were moving the ball really well. They looked like they were dominating on top of ground. But the Dogs have just been able to arrest that. They changed their plans out of quarter time. Rory Lobb went forward. They were prepared to go longer to contest. They brought the extra number up around clearance and played a surge game. Started playing a wet weather surge game for territory. And they've been able to do exactly that. There's Brent Daniels in the coach's box, not where his coach wants him. They will welcome him back as soon as they can.
Ward starts the chain of hand pass. Picking up nicely. The Giants send it forward again. Buku gets off. Jesse attacks the footy. Jesse stays down. Slick hands. Kelly snap out of the pack.
If it was the 5th quarter, you might give them a chance here, the Giants. Finishing with all sorts of energy.
I think that's pleasing, and maybe the Dogs have taken their foot off the gas as well. But
Bontempelli makes a bit of a difference.
Yeah, he's been
Leadership as well.
Great show, the 5th quarter, but the years go past. Harry back to the wing. Over the top came Norton.
Explosion up past 10 in Canberra.
And the fact that, we were talking about the young players, the Bulldogs. It's not that the Giants don't have young players, but when you're in the infancy of your career and you're playing, somewhere between game 1 and game 20, you aren't going to have the wherewithal to be able to run it out. You haven't developed the tank yet, but that might be a reason why they're going to have to rotate those players through the season.
Richards, it's going to be line ball. Hallberg just worried about the footy and he's able to reach out and take the mark.
See, Dolan's one of those. I don't think he would have had as much game time in any one of his games until now. Davidson's just keeps running. He's been brilliant. Cleary off the back. They've been brilliant.
Siren sounds, and at the end of it, the Western Bulldogs show they are one of the big movers as this season starts to take shape. Aaron Norton played game number 150. Gunslinger played game number 1, and together with all their teammates, they cause the celebrations in the Bulldogs box. The Bond's been back for a couple of weeks, but he's not the lone reason. There's 2 wins in a row. They've been in winning positions in most of the games they've played. They're in the 8 as it stands tonight. They dominated quarters 2 and 3. They've set up a 32-point win. It's a rivalry in name, but In recent times, it's been a rivalry dominated by the Western Bulldogs, and that continues.
Yeah, 8 of the last 9 in favour of the Western Bulldogs. You're right, it was set up in quarter 2 and quarter 3. So credit to the coaching staff and the players to really change the way that they came into this game, thinking that they might get the job done with. Bucks has illustrated what that actually meant, but they're going to be a serious challenger this year, the Dogs. When you think about the outs that they've got, the players that they've developed when Bontempelli's been out, and the contribution across that midfield that they've got great depth in now. And Cap Mooney's got a couple of those players with him.
Oh, I do, guys. Absolutely. Joe, I want to start with you tonight, mate. Fantastic performance, obviously, but yourself, I mean, you've come into this midfield over the last, I know you started down back a little bit last year, but probably over the summer, and this year in particular, gone into the midfield. Just talk us a little about that.
Yeah, Bevo, Lady, Piers, midfield coaches, they were, really wanted me to just use my strengths. Moving into the midfield, still some opportunity, but the boys have been awesome in there. Bonty, Liv, Ed, they've just been really great. Having Matty Kennedy as well, he's been awesome. So through their guidance, it's been really good, and I love my time there.
Well, it's been a while, probably since you've had this depth. Nice for you, isn't it?
It's lovely, mate. The versatility I think we're building into our team, you know, with guys like Joel and Sando, guys like Riley West, guys who've been around a while, who've really just spent time, you know, honing their crafts. It's making us a handful to play against, and we're trying as much as we can to get that even contribution, and we know how important that is across the season.
What was it after quarter time? Absolutely blew them out of the water from there on.
Yeah, I mean, we'd like to be starting the game a little bit better. It's probably happened twice now, the Saints game, and this one we just haven't been right on our medal. But I think the thing for us is that we're able to change things quickly in game, and we haven't always been able to do that. So I think it's because of guys like Joel and Davo and Luke Cleary, Jed Bussinger in his first game, guys who are stepping up to the occasion. So it is making us hopefully a hard team to play against.
Joel, tell us about this backline tonight. Very young backline. Lob goes down forward after quarter time, and yet they hold Giants to, they kicked a few late there, but they were outstanding tonight.
They were amazing. Like Bonty said, Bus coming in for his first game, the confidence he showed, Luke Cleary, they're not just defending, but they're getting involved on offense as well, which helps the rest of the team. So I thought they were outstanding tonight.
Come a long way since Horsham, mate.
Yeah, lovely junior footy back there, but love playing at the AFL level, and loved every bit of it.
Do you know he was a ping pong champion at school, Bon?
Yeah, ping pong champion. Played every day for 3 years, so
Well, tell us about this group right now. What are you thinking?
What am I thinking? I'm thinking we're building an integrity in our game, and as I said, the focus is to be a really difficult team to play against, no matter who your opponent is. So they're a really good team. You know, they have been across the course of the season. So I think we're starting to see the team that we want to be and the team that we can be. And as you know, a long season, but the challenge is to back it up. We want to be a handful every single week. And hopefully we're starting to build that into ourselves.
Let's go and enjoy the win. You deserve it.
Champion of ping pong. That's the type of things you learn with Kevin Mooney's in charge. It's number 20 on Joel Frazier. Pick 45 in 2023, so he wasn't a high pick. He's just a bull in there.
He came in about a third of the way through last year for his first games as a halfback flanker. You know, I thought a third tall aerial player that can use the ball really well, and I think Luke Beveridge is one of the best at being able to bring his players in at the right time, in a role that suits them, and then develop them at the right end. And I think he gives players stretch targets. He's not afraid to give players with the right skill set stretch targets, you know, so he gets them to where they want to be quicker, and he lets them fail. If they're not ready, then we get that information. But if they are, why not find out? And that's what, you know, the decision with Buslinger is a little bit about that.
Yeah.
You know, you put Frazier into the middle instead of keeping him where he was, which was looking pretty good.
Just briefly, the other side of the coin, we saw Adam Kingsley there, still with a headset on, still on the bench, disconsolate, no doubt. A lot going through his head about what he's seen over the last couple of weeks.
I didn't mind his body language. You know, like he was obviously, the game was done, but he was quite stoic, and he'd be spending this time to make sure that he consolidates in his mind what the key messages are and what needs to be delivered to his group. Because there's so many things that they could look at, but he'll need to go to the 1, 2 or 3 major issues that they base their whole game style on, that they may or may not have got done tonight, and you know the result would suggest that they didn't. And that's what you go back to. In a poor performance, there's so much to look at, but you've got to be really specific in your messaging directly after a game.
I think the other thing in regards to Luke Beveridge is you've really got to, at this time, also give credit to the assistant coaches, and you see the really experienced senior assistant coaches that have got Daniel Pratt's there, Brendan Wade's there, Matty Spangers, these kids, so when they do come in and get their opportunity, that they're at the level required to be able to perform, one with the capabilities, but two with the mindset that they're ready. Joel Frazier's been one of those, and the man that we'll hear from now in his first game with Cam Mooney.
Thanks, Louis. Well, Jen, talk about your first game. Congratulations, first of all. You've taken a couple of years to get here, but it's well worth the wait.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. Like I said to the boys before the game, parents did the jump presentation, like how honoured I am to play for the club and how much it means to me to finally get this game and then get a win on top with some of my best mates. It's an unbelievable feeling.
There were times tonight where you looked so young down there as a backline group, and yet you held one of the best scoring teams in the competition to a pretty low score tonight. How amazing was that when you think about it?
Yeah, sort of we back in everyone that plays down there, and we have a really good system in place that we rely on our forwards a lot to help the defenders. So it's a full ground game, and without them we couldn't really do it. But yeah, it was good for the younger boys to step up and play their part.
At times you would have gone on to Jesse. You did go on Jesse tonight. Just tell us about a couple of those contests.
Yeah, it's a big step up from VFL. He's didn't win a Coleman for no reason. He's pretty crafty forward, and his body work's pretty elite. So got to get the timing right on him, and a few things to learn from this game. But one that I loved.
How good's this?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I'll soak it up with the boys.
Go enjoy, brother.
Thanks.
All smiles, and why wouldn't he be after a win on debut? He's been made to wait for a couple of years. His third year in the system, he finally gets his chance. And they have a win, and the boys he's got to run 150 metres, letting him know about it. Yeah, so two things to celebrate tonight. His first game, Aaron Norton, his 150th. That's certainly something that you remember. First win, and on the road, so they'll be together tonight. Depending on how many days break, maybe they get an ale in as well. They'll be certainly happy walking off the field now. And they have put together two fantastic performances. The win over St Kilda was a demolition job, and as was pointed out by Marcus Pickford tonight, they're at that to a degree. Sluggish start, changed a few things, and in the end they've won here, despite giving up quite a few goals at the end by over 5 goals. So the celebrations are in full swing.
Unpopular opinion.
I don't think it's very unpopular. I think it's a few that will be with you. And Jed will be one of them at the moment, but he won't mind too much. They get them.
Toyota BZ4X, David King, Jack Rewalt, Jay Clark. A stunning 32-point win by the Western Bulldogs over fierce rivals GWS. That 5 goals to none third quarter completely changed the game.
Yeah, that was huge. Obviously, the Gold Coast, GWS Giants. I was going to say Gold Coast there for a second.
While we're listening to this, folks, let's just run through the goals. You can see the goals here. Just take a bit of a look, and then I'll put the disposals up.
At the moment, the Bulldogs, with still some injuries, look really, really good.
One of the wins of the season, I reckon, to be honest. This is a phenomenal performance from the Western Bulldogs, and there are stories everywhere. The coach is a big one, clearly. Remember all the angst about, Caleb Daniel playing in the VFL and Jack McRae? Well, I'll tell you what, Joel Frazier, he's having some season. 27 possessions tonight, 19 contested, 9 clearances. So the older guys move out, and this guy grows. Oh, what a phenomenal performance.
It reminds me of that scene out of Monty Python. Just a flesh wound. Like he's losing limbs everywhere, and he's still standing. I don't know how you're doing it. I don't know how he's doing it, but it's an amazing story. You look at tonight. I can't believe you look at the goal kickers, the multiple goal kickers. Harms kicks 4. I wouldn't have thought that in a million years. West kicks 3. Lobb and Kennedy 2 apiece. I mean, you're thinking it'll be Norton if they win. It'll be Bont going forward if they win. I just think this is one of the great wins of the season when a club that's, let's be honest, a club, a fan base that's 50-50 on this guy. I don't know why. I don't know how many times he has to do this.
Luke Beveridge.
Yeah, Luke Beveridge.
Should you be re-signing him if your Dogs hire him?
I wouldn't even be wasting time. I'd be just getting it done. I don't know what you're waiting to see. I've seen clubs just drift for years when they make a poor appointment for a senior coach and you spiral for quite some time. They've got a guy that can clearly motivate a group to, on the road, beat a team of the quality of the
Premiership
Giants.
coach.
Why would you be moving anywhere but where you are right now?
And what about what happened in the back half? I mean, he drops Liam Jones, one of the statement selections of the season, and then we see Jed Buslinger pop up. I mean, even Rory Lobb was played forward, so it was such a young backline, as the guys said. Just unbelievable.
We're standing by to hear from Luke Beveridge. He will join us, hopefully, from the Bulldogs change rooms, and we will discuss his future because you have a bit of news on his contract and where that stands. But let's talk about this game, and I'm intrigued to know what he said at half-time because Ashley and Martin turning point is the third quarter, and it was simply stunning by the Bulldogs. They completely put this game to bed with a 5-goal-to-none third quarter. What did you see, Dave King?
Just ball use, just skill, talent. I mean, this is a team in really good synergy. They know exactly what's required at each moment. They only went inside 50 13 times, but they scored 5 goals, 3. They had a spread of options that weren't the Hall of Fame names. They were different targets, but what they did do was bash them in the middle of the ground. They did that all night. +6 in clearances for the quarter. They got the game going their way. You have to dip your lid to Bontempelli, Frazier, who's the little Bont, as you're referring him to, and guys like Libba, who just kept turning up. And Richards is always there, somewhere riding shotgun, and they just find a way to score. I don't know if it's even a priority, Jack. I just think they're happy to get it in there, pick the best option, go from there.
Yeah, well, they've changed their dynamic forward as well. They had, obviously, Darcy and Norton, so a lot of it was going through Sam Darcy and taking big contested marks, but tonight they took 0 marks in the first half and still were able to put 53 points up on the board. So I think they're evolving, which is a great sign to Luke Beveridge, because some senior coaches can want to play a certain way and try and bring players in to continue to play that game plan. For me, they look like they're evolving off the back of Sam Darcy getting injured and just playing a small ball game and goals coming from ground balls.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about, because you always talk about 2018 and not evolving at Richmond. But you're seeing this team do exactly the opposite.
Yeah, and mid-season's really important as well. You speak about Marcus Bontempelli, like he had 4 direct goal assists tonight, and that's why the good players and those star midfielders are worth their weight in goal for their ability to actually do it around the middle of the ground and then make other players great by bringing them in, and that's why we call them lesser names, can hit the scoreboard.
Let's head into the Dogs change rooms because Tom Liberatore has been good enough to join us. Tom, we've just been discussing that 5-goals-to-none third quarter. What was said at half-time?
I think there was similar messaging before the game, but we just sort of went back to the contest and how we could sort of evolve that, and then probably just a bit more territory as well. I think we sort of fed into their game and let them sort of chip the ball around and sort of get up the ground a bit. So we just needed to get a bit more territory ourselves.
Liver, it's as good a smashing as I've seen at stoppage, 55-33. That is a complete mauling. Tell us about the planning for this. I mean, they've got some big names in there, some serious talent in there, and you've taken them to the cleaners.
I think we sort of work on that connectedness between each midfielder. We've got a decent amount of depth in there, so we went to work on. They sort of like to play a few numbers up, but they're pretty man on. So we just need to make sure we work together and do a lot of deals and get on the move a fair bit. So it paid off.
Normally we'd see the names like yourself and Marcus Bontempelli dominating that midfield when it is a battle like that, but it's been Kennedy and Frazier that have really stepped up under the leadership of yourself and Marcus. What have you made of their years so far, and especially their games tonight?
It's been outstanding. I think their appetite to learn over pre-season, their understanding of the structures how clean they are with the ball, and yeah, just their willingness to do the team things has been outstanding. And I think to play with them and to play alongside them it's been really good and really helpful for the team, particularly our midfield.
But what about the coach, Luke Beveridge? We're just talking about him then. You know him so well. It's his 11th season. Could he be at the top of his game?
Well, yeah, I reckon there's a few factors to it, but no, he's in some good areas at the moment. His pre-game speeches have been on point this year. He's nice and got a good balance. He's pretty relaxed, but he's still got that energy and gives us a spray when we need to, and I think his timing's been spot on this year.
I'm not sure about the communication there, but you're far too serious at the moment. I'm doing this. I don't know if I like it.
Yeah, we'll work on that. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting a bit old. It's getting a bit late at night now. It's almost 11 o'clock. Bedtime.
Well, speaking about the coach, and you mentioned the themes, and he's such a great inspirational coach. Can you let us in on any of the pre-game messaging from Luke Beveridge tonight and what he drew upon?
Pretty obvious week to draw on the Anzacs. We went to the Memorial yesterday, and we sort of drew on a certain character, won a Victorian Cross. So we worked on that. He pushed that message of pressure from the trenches and making sure we're the first one out and ready to go. It's obviously no comparison of footy to war, but just those sort of that attitude and that mindset really sort of filtered through the group.
But we can't forget that inspirational rundown chase of Brad Hill last week. Did you set a land speed record, mate? That was the fastest you've ever moved. It was outstanding.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It was credit to the development team and the speed and the weights coaches. So Alpha and DZ, our head of performance. So we'll put the credit to them.
He's bought a big photo. He's put it on the front bar of the Ascot Vale. Limmer, run down tackle. Hey, listen, that's as good a game as I've seen Tim English play for a while. Was there a different message to him this week, or maybe with the dropping of Liam Jones, I think everyone gets that little spike that they need?
I don't think Jonesy had anything to do with it. I think Tim's just sort of been building his consistency week to week. His appetite's been really good. I think his voice and leadership's gone to a new level this year, so I think the consistency in that has shown, and he keeps growing week to week. So tonight was no exception.
Now, we're not, you've got to be not winding your career up in any way, shape or form, but you've got to be ready for life after footy. I think there's an opportunity for a media career. I'd like you to talk me through and just commentate this rundown chase of yours from last week. If you can just give us a little bit of juice in your own way, please, commentate this.
So I thought I was cooked here, tucked the shoulders in, and got him. So,
Liver, that was awful. Go again.
That's officially ended my media career, and I'll never be doing this. I'll never set foot in with any media when I finish playing. I'm sorry. But,
I did see a bit of banter between these two during the week on a podcast as well.
Maybe you'd be better in the morning. You said it's past your bedtime, so we'll let you go. Thank you, Liver. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. Cheers.
Oh, brilliant.
He's great. He is great. I'll tell you what, they've got a special one. And you need these guys in the group. You need all types, to make a successful club and have that united front. Sometimes when you're going poorly as a player, it's great to sidle up to a Libba. You say, mate, don't worry about it. It's all right. Talk about something different. I reckon if you sat next to Bond, it'd be footy.
Yep.
I reckon if you sit next to Libba, you don't know what the conversation is.
And that's exactly why I reckon they're getting the output of Fraser and of Kennedy. Like, you need that nucleus of a couple of blokes that you walk taller around. Like, every player in the competition would love to play with Tom Liberatore and would walk taller as a player with him there.
So circling back to the Luke Beveridge conversation, you two would re-sign him in a heartbeat. You were on that page. Where does it sit at the moment with the Western Bulldogs, Jay? Because he had a great sit-down interview, which I'm not sure how much you paid Anthony Hudson for the coverage tonight. But
and a little clip from Louis.
It was a brilliant article. Where does it stand at the moment with the Bulldogs hierarchy and Luke Beveridge?
Yeah, so his clear preference is to remain at the kennel, right? Luke Beveridge wants a contract extension. He's not talking to any other clubs. There's been no even thought to any other clubs, but they're not in a rush on this. In fact, I reckon there's some chance this might not be done until after the final series. And asking Luke Beveridge, well, what's it going to take, do you think? He said quite clearly that it's not going to be just about wins and losses, right? It's going to be about a whole lot of factors at the football club. This is his 11th season, and he did mention the drama at the football club. Now, that obviously involves the number one draft pick, of course, all the different injuries they've had. Like, it's been...
So what are the factors, though, when it comes to his future?
Well, as he said, it's not just the wins and losses, it's about the whole totality at the club, and particularly some of these off-field issues. So, I mean, Simon Goodwin said at the start of the season that when you have these issues, a fog can descend on your football club, and it's been hard for them. And they have had some adversity here at the Kennel, so I think that'll all be factored into it. He has been there, well, this is his 11th season, so you've got to be mindful of sort of, you know, how long can you continue to inspire the same group? But I think he's reinvented himself along the way. He's certainly reinvented the team. There's only 4 players remaining from 2016, 10 from 2021, but there's no rush. I mean, is there some scarring from the 4 elimination final losses? Like, so if they got to elimination final, they'd be pretty keen. You know, if they didn't win that would be pretty difficult, I would imagine. So I think this will be held off. I think this is going to be a September conversation. They're not in a rush to determine Luke Beveridge's future as well as he's going at the minute.
Does it not add to the outside noise, though, the fact that your coach going into a final series is unsigned? Like, I look at that as one of a
distraction.
They're hard to find good ones, and they've got a good one. And now, granted, he's been there for 11 years, and you can talk about messaging and whatnot, but clearly it's working. So is this not a chance for them to remove a portion of this cloud that sits over the football club to go into finals and actually... And if they play like that, they're a good chance of winning it.
Yeah.
So
do you think the Bulldogs can win the flag?
Well, you look at the additions to come back in. They get Treloar and a few other key players to come back through injury. Like they're playing good footy at the moment. They've taken up to the Giants, who many would have had top 4 at the start of the season. Why not?
Did anyone really expect them to be here after round 7? Considering at the start of...
They're not 7-0. They're 4-3.
With that injury list,
but with the injury list, the Jamar and
I get all that.
They could have been 1-6.
Yeah. No, I understand. Well, of course they could have been, but
no Waitman, no Treloar. Bontempelli's just come back.
I understand.
Jones is out of the team.
Look, they're not 7-0. They're just temper at a fraction. Okay, he's done a great job with what he's had at his disposal. I'm a massive Bevo fan. You know that. I just think it'd be one of the great fumbles if they allowed him to coach another club next year. It really would. They've got a guy that's taken them to the promised land. He can clearly motivate. They had 8 players in their team tonight under 20 games. They are resetting before our eyes. If they don't recognise that internally, I don't know what they're watching. I really don't. So they've got a guy there that's, if you think you're going to get better, you want to be right.
Is one of those factors keeping the skipper and re-signing Marcus Bontempelli? How does that work in with Luke Beveridge's contract?
Yeah, I think he'll stay. I think it's a matter of how much. I think there's an interesting quirk to this story because he's already on $1 to $1.1 million, right? He's 29. Now, if he is still the number 1 or number 2 player in the game and he's at that very pointy end, does he deserve a pay rise, Marcus Bontempelli? Because at this stage of your career, you sort of start to flatten or go down. Is there a world where Marcus Bontempelli deserves a pay rise in this contract extension? Because this has taken its time, and I don't think negotiations are fired up just yet. But if Luke Davies gets 1.3, what do you pay Marcus Bontempelli?
Well, there's 2 ways to look at this conversation. Is Bontempelli a player that goes, I want to win another premiership, I'll take less to maybe get another player to come into your football club? Or you're the best player in the competition, arguably you should be paid $1.5 million. Yeah. So if they go down that track, it's a shorter contract.
What are you doing?
I'm paying him more than what he's on now. I'm not going ridiculously over. So maybe you stay, like obviously there's been an injection of money into the salary cap of the CBA being agreed on last year. So maybe you're paying him 1.2 to 1.4 with enough to sell the story to Marcus, go, hey, we've got our eyes on A, B and C player to come to make us a better team. But I'm only doing it for 2 or 3 years. Yeah. You don't want to be signing him on for longer than that, I don't reckon. And I don't think Marcus wants to.
Well, I think you've got to respect what he's been. I mean, this guy's in the discussion to be the best they've ever had. Like, he's done it for a long time. Well, he's in the, I don't know, the Dogs people go a long way back. They talk about the old timers different to us, and we have the recency bias. So I think it'd be disrespectful to offer him less than what he's on. So that's off the table for me. And there will be some serious money come for him. I mean, the longer this drags on, the longer this lasts as an open discussion, the more the money will come from elsewhere. They'll see an opportunity. And I just, in the back of my mind, thinking, why isn't this done? Why aren't they just happy to get this guy signed?
I think he was injured. right? I think there's been a bit of noise
Could
around the
affect the
coach.
money, him being injured.
If they're going to win, if they're going to produce performances like that, then of course he's staying, right? If they can have a shot at the flag, like you say, well then that's what the improvement.
So what's stalling it at the moment? He doesn't want to have the negotiations right now because he wanted to get back from injury, or is it more the money thing?
Yeah, no, injury. Yeah, clearly he's been injured. So and he takes his time with his deal. But I just think this is an interesting crossroad because he is playing like a 1 point. If Luke Davies gets 1.3, he's playing like a $1.5 million.
What if Collingwood were offering 1.6? Is there any way that he can walk?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I
so
think
it's not a money issue.
I think he stays at the kennel. I think there's a bit of a pay rise, as you say, in it for Marcus.
Do you think it's
deservedly?
I do a domino effect though. Like if Beveridge signed tomorrow, would Marcus Bontempelli sign the day after?
I think he loves Luke Beveridge, and I think that would be a step in the right direction. But Ed Richards, who is a deal is imminent for him, so that's going to be a 4-year deal. There's going to be a decent pay rise in that as well. Remember Sam Darcy. So there's a few mouths to feed in this Western Bulldogs list. Joel Fraser, as we just said, is growing before our eyes.
Well, he might get centre-half forwards money after what we're seeing over the last couple of games. His ability to go forward now is a real feature of his game. I love this aspect of what Luke Beveridge is doing with Marcus Bontempelli in the forward 50. I think he's a supreme target. They went to him 4 times tonight. He didn't play the last quarter, obviously. So let's just round that up and say they go to him 5 or 6 times a game. That's perfect. I can see this guy kicking 30 goals for the year as a bit forward, on baller, getting forward. We know what he does as a midfielder, but this sort of stuff you don't get from other players. Look at that. The creativity to get that to the outside. Now, that doesn't go down on his goal tally, but that's a goal you don't get from anyone else in that team except for Bontempelli. And then this, to rear up in a small one-on-one, half-package sort of thing arriving, he's prepared to stand at the front and take that contested mark. I love what he can bring forward the ball.
So, sorry,
he was subbed late in the game too. The Bulldogs saying that's just being managed. Remember, he had the calf, so it's just lightening his load a little.
So the Bulldogs next play Port in Ballarat, then Gold Coast in Darwin. So a bit of trouble coming up for them. What about the Giants? Where does tonight leave us when it comes to Adam Kingsley's side? Some pretty bad back-to-back losses now.
They're impotent. They can't hurt you. They actually can't hurt you as a footy club. They're not moving the ball anywhere near the way they want to. They're not scoring as heavily as they want to. We've lauded the tsunami. I think we've got a lag effect with that. Their attacks ranked in the bottom bracket of the competition, are only averaging 87 points a game. They don't hurt you on intercept. They don't hurt you on counter punch from half-back like they once did. If they win, they defend themselves to victory. They don't really blow you away. So they've got massive problems in terms of being the complete package that can win the flag. They wouldn't be in the top 4 or 5 teams right now if you had to list your contenders.
My worries lie with their forward line, especially their key forwards at the moment. They're playing Stringer. Well, they got Stringer. They're playing Riccardi, Cadman and Hogan. I just don't see them surviving in the same forward line, all 4 of those keys there. For mine, I look at the assets that you've got, and we saw Brett Daniels in the coach's box tonight on the coverage, but they've got Thomas and Jones, who are going to be bona fide stars and close to. Darcy Jones was nearly their best player tonight. Is that maybe they need to relook at their forward line at the moment because there is just too many holes. Look, I think it's Cadman. I think it's Cadman. Riccardi's kicked 3 tonight. Stringer, you've got him into the club. He hasn't had a great game tonight, but like the heat is on Aaron Cadman. Do you need to try him down back? Do you need to do something different with him, or does he need to go back to the twos and have a spell and actually find some form? Because at the moment, he's just not impacting to the level that I think a number 1 draft pick who's played 50 games of footy should.
Let's get a feel of how the Giants are processing tonight's loss. Cam Moody is in their change rooms.
Well, Bucks, thanks very much for joining us, mate. I appreciate it. After it turned out to be a pretty bad loss for you guys at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was disappointing. The first half was an even battle. Then to come out at half-time like that and just have a really terrible third quarter, it's really disappointing, especially on the back of last week where we let ourselves down. So not to bounce back, especially in contest all around the ground. If you play AFL football, you've got to win contests, and we didn't do that and got what we deserved in the end.
Well, this is a group I know is extremely proud of the contest work that you do. And as you said, the last 2 weeks, how do you get that back?
Well, you just got to train it. You just got to look each other in the eye and address the issues and call it out and promise to actually get to work and get better at it during the week. So, us as leaders, we need to drive that. So we need to do a far better job at, driving that this week and make it the best training week we've had all year. Leading into a derby, it's always a hot contest, and as Swans are as good a contest team as anyone. They have, as anyone, and they have been for a long time. So if we don't bring it next week, it's going to be the same. So it's on us.
Sure we will, mate. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks.
So back-to-back losses now heading into the Sydney Derby next week, Joe.
Massive game. A team in decline. I mean, big call from you, Impotent. Interested in that. King, this is the team that had Brisbane Lions on toast, up by 40 points in last year's final series. They should have beaten Sydney, right? So is there September scars? Can there be any sort of hangover effect from that exit? Because it was horrific.
100%. Going out of straight sets would be sitting in the back of their mind. And the fact they kicked 34 points last week and it was 50-odd to three-quarter time tonight with a scoreless third quarter. There's all sorts of things that would be going through Adam Kingsley's mind as the coach we saw on the bench late, still on the headphones trying to figure out what just happened. So I imagine it's there for the players as well.
Never a good sign when it looks like they're still processing it well and truly after the final siren, and he'll be thinking about it a lot tonight, no doubt. Okay, Saturday debrief, we're only getting started because we've got a lot to debrief following tonight's thriller at Adelaide Oval.
Want to read Jake Article again?
Sit around and have a chat about it.
We need to talk about this next. Jason Horne-Francis against his former club at Adelaide Oval.
All right, folks, that's it. That is it for this coverage. Was the Dogs by 32 points. They were pretty good, weren't they? Expect the Gold Coast to bounce back tomorrow. There are a few what have we got on? 3 games tomorrow. 3 games, of course, that's right. We've got the Gold Coast Sydney Swans derby. That's 1:15 p.m. Melbourne time. That's up there at People's First Stadium up there in Queensland. And of course, following that, well, that game sort of clashes, runs into the Carlton-Geelong game, 3:20 p.m. Melbourne time, MCG. And then the final game of round 7, Hawthorn taking on West Coast at Marvel Stadium. So I might do, if anyone's interested, I might do the Gold Coast Sydney and the Hawthorn West Coast game. They might be the 2 games I do because the other games, the middle game clashes with the other 2. So we'll see how we go. We might be able to do those 2 games, but we'll keep the up-to-date scores, if possible, on the Carlton-Geelong game during the Gold Coast Sydney game tomorrow. So there we go, folks. We had a look at the stats, the team stats, the goal scorers, where these 2 teams sit on the ladder. It should be in for a fascinating day tomorrow. And of course, did I mention who these teams are playing next week? Of course, next week the Giants, they are in the Derby. Of course, they're playing the Sydney Swans. Sydney Swans versus the Giants next Sunday, 1:10 p.m. at the SCG. Giants going into that game favourite. Well, I don't know. The odds might have changed there. And of course, the Bulldogs next week. That's going to be another ring-a-ding-ding game. That's going to be at Mars Stadium in Ballarat. The Western Bulldogs is taking on Port Adelaide, who had another good victory today after winning 3 on the trap for Port. So it should be a couple of good games coming up for these 2 teams next week. All right, folks. Thanks all for coming in. Thanks, M. King, Harvey. Good to see you again. It's been a while. Manuel and everyone else. Lee Pearson. Everybody else. Kylie was in there again. Of course, Adrian, Tine. All the good footy followers. All right, folks. That's all I got for this one. So until the next game on tomorrow, Gold Coast. Who did I say is playing? There we go. Can't even remember. Let me just double check that. That's right. The Gold Coast Suns and the Sydney Swans, 1:15 p.m. Melbourne time. That's the next game. Should be our coverage from then. All right, folks. Until then, ciao for now. We'll see you at the next game.